Parish Council meeting of November 13, 2018 is hereby called to order. Mrs. Carleen, can you call roll?
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Bozito?
Here.
Mr. Groh?
Here.
Mr. Melvin?
Here.
Mr. Perilou?
Here.
Mr. Ote? He's not here. Mr. Lafont? Mr. Lorraine? Mr. Cantrell?
Councilman Groh will do the invocation, and Councilman Lorraine will lead us in the pledge.
First, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Dr. Clay Pierce, who passed away, a respected veterinarian in the community, who passed away yesterday. Please keep him in your prayers.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How are we on the minutes, Ms. Carleen?
It's the first one.
You didn't roll call that.
I didn't do what?
You didn't hear his name on the roll call.
Ms. Carleen, did you call Mr., no, you didn't
I
call
didn't.
Mr. Jacuzo?
I'm sorry, Mr. Jacuzo. Are you here?
Mr. Jacuzo's here. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Mr. Jacuzo.
Okay, A, approval of the minutes. Motion to accept the minutes of July 10th, 2018, regular session deferred from 7/24/18, 8/14/18, 8/28/18, 9/11/18, 9/25/18, 10/9/18, and 10/23/18, Lafourche Parish Council meetings. Can I get a motion? Moved by Perilou, second by Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Councilman Otan being absent.
We need to defer 2 through 9.
Can I get a motion to defer items 2 through 9? Moved by Melvin, second by Groh. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Councilman Otan being absent. He is on his way. He's just stuck in traffic.
November 27th meeting.
Items 2 through 9 will be moved to 11, 27, 18. Okay. First budget public hearing. Can I get a motion to open the budget public hearings? Moved by Gross, second by Melvin. All in favor? Any opposed? Public hearing is open. 8-0-1 with Councilman Otan being absent. Let the record show it at 5:03. Councilman Otan entered chambers. Number 10, public hearing for public comments on the proposed 2019 operations and capital budgets for the Lafourche Parish Council. Does anyone from the public wishes to comment? Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Can I get a motion to close the budget public hearing? Moved by Jacuzo, second by Perilou. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 9-0. C, review of the 2019 operations and maintenance budget and the capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council as follows. Okay, this will be a little tedious, just bear with us. Number 1, 001, General Fund. Legislative. Anyone from the council have any questions? Anyone from the public? City Court, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? District Court, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? District Attorney, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Clerk of Court, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Court Reporter, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Elections, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Register of Voters, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Finance, anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Executive, anyone from the council? Mr. Jones?
I'd like to ask the administration how they came up with the president's salary increase from 124,855 to 160,536.
Mr. Jimmy? Mr. Jimmy, he doesn't, you don't want to answer, Mr. Jimmy? This is your salary.
Miss Lucy, I'm gonna let Mr. Brent do it because we all talked about it. And anyway, in other words, we always want to wish on something, and the way you're trying to push it, I don't think I work for you. Mr. Brent works for me, and he's gonna answer when I please him to answer. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, do you want to hear Mr. Brent's answer? Mr. Abady?
Did Mr. Abedy do the report or finance?
Mr. Jones, I'll give you the process, because that's what you asked about. The salary for the parish president is fixed by definition in a parish ordinance that follows on from the Home Rule Charter. According to that process, the Director of Human Resources acquires the data on the 3 public official salaries and compiles a report and does the calculations to establish the specific number that is required by the parish ordinance. And that number is calculated completely independently of any discretion and is placed in the budget based upon the actual calculations as required by the parish ordinance. Now, I will say, with regard to the specific numbers, that I didn't do those calculations, that those were done by the Director of Human Resources and that were then submitted to the Finance Department for the preparation of the budget.
Are they here so they can tell us the exact formula that was used? That would be great. Is anyone here to tell us or share with us the formula that was used? The amounts that were used, the salaries that were used?
No, we would have to have the Human Resources Director come in. They get the certification from the Louisiana Legislative Auditor. So we can have that information for you. The Director of Human Resources is not here tonight.
Mr. Chair, lady, I think the ordinance said the salary is based on certification. So that brings up another question. What certification do our parish president have there to get a 28.5% increase?
I don't know. Is that an answer, is that a question for the administration?
That's the
Because the
question.
HR
That's it.
director's not here to say what certifications the parish president has.
Right.
Do you know certifications, Mr. Abady?
The information is acquired and then certified by the Legislative Auditor to the Human Resources Director.
Well, I think the human resource person should have been here as budget hearing.
I just want to mention Representative Barrow Amedy's in the audience today. Thank you, Representative Amedy. And Doug Shermy, representing Attorney General. He was right here. Maybe he stepped out. You see him? He was. Representing Attorney General Jeff Landry's office. Okay, Mr. Jones, was that it?
I had
Oh,
a similar
sorry,
question,
Mr.
too.
Grove?
So, on city court, I know we passed it up. Do you know why it went from 62 to 42 in wages? Can I go back? We're still under the same general fund. Would anybody know why that was cut? From 62, 475 to 42?
All right, I don't have the specifics on that number. Usually the court itself certifies to us, or at least transmits to us what their budget numbers are on those independent, just like the district attorney does.
Okay, I'll find out.
Anyone else? Purchasing. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Let the record show, Councilman Lafont stepped out at 5:11 PM. Property and risk management. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Human resources. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Civil service. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Information technology. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Planning and zoning. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? 911 addressing. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Justice of the peace and constables. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Corrections. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Parish coroner. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Civil defense. Anyone from the council?
Got a question.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, another question for the administration. I noticed $318,051 was moved out of state of emergency to move to civil defense. Is there any reason for that?
Mr. Jimmy?
If you give us a couple of minutes on that, or if you want to come back to it, Mr. Hemel's going to look into that.
All right.
Fire insurance rebate. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Public works. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Coastal energy and environmental. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Community services. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Grants. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? County agent. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Debt service. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Intergovernmental expenditures. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Mr. Abity, do you all have that information yet? No?
Not yet, he's working on it.
Number 2, 106, road sales tax, District Number 2. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 3, 112, criminal jury. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 4, 113, criminal court. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 5, 114, special district 1. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 6, 115, off-duty witness. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 7, 121, drug court. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 8, 124, IV-D, child support. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 9, 130, Head Start. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 10, 131, Head Start, CACFP. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 11, 141, CACFP program. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 12, 142, Office of Community Action. That's the next one. Oh, Office of Community Action, General Fund. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 143, weatherization. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 14, 144, LaHeap. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 15, 150, Community Services Block Grant, CSBG. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 16, 154, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the public? Number 17, 160, Road Sales Tax District A. Anyone from the council? Mr. Jones?
Yes, Ms. Chair Lady. Question for the administration. You took out of Capital Project 299 and enrolled it in Aura SDT, Road Sales Tax 2A, I'm sorry, in 206 of $200,000. What's the need for that?
Mr. Jimmy? Mr. Jimmy's not answering. Mr. Abady?
Well, let me just go back real quick while we're doing this research on the budget items. If we can go back to Councilman Jones's question about civil defense. Did I understand that you were talking about transfer out of emergency fund to civil defense of $318,000
Right, and $51.
in the 2019 budget?
2019
Okay, because
budget.
it's not showing on our budget like that. So
Showing it in
maybe,
book.
well, maybe Mr. Hemo can look at what you're talking about and we can figure out exactly what you're asking about. Carol, can you?
All right, we'll look at it. But that's a question that,
Let's all get on the same page. Carol, can he approach you, Mr.
yeah, I won't
Jones?
get it out. Just wait.
Okay.
I'll search it.
Okay.
Let's get the answer to road sales tax A.
Do you need him to repeat the question, Mr. Cantrell?
Yes, I'd like to have him repeat the question.
Mr. Jones?
The question is, in road sales tax A, fund number 206, the administration put in $200,000 from Fund 299, capital project, Abbey Drainage Project. Is there a reason for that?
Mr. Cantrell?
We get into answers, we just have to look it up.
Yeah, 13048.
All right, that was a revenue neutral transfer which substituted road sales tax A funds and freed up money from the general fund so that that could be used in other projects on the emergency fund.
On what, the road sale tax, eh?
That's correct. We substituted road sales tax A, which is dedicated money, into that project. And then we took out an equivalent amount, so it was revenue neutral. So the Abbey Lakes budget is still identical. All right, that's all we did was put in dedicated funds, and we took general fund money that the council could use for other purposes and put that back in the general fund, actually in the
It's
emergency
not
fund.
in the general fund. It's in road sale tax
In the
A.
emergency- You went to the emergency fund? Yeah, go ahead.
What it is originally, this project was funded by both Road Sales Tax District A and 174, which is the emergency fund. So to free up, since we had money in Road Sales Tax District A that could substitute from the emergency fund. So instead of freezing up that emergency fund monies, we put it back to 174 and just increased it out of the Road Sales Tax
Yeah,
District A.
I know you increased in road sale tax A, but that's the question I got. Substitute. Is that project gonna be dead when Abbey Road?
Yes,
be dead?
the funds were just, it had $200,000, I know it had more than 200 in it, or I believe it only had 200 in it left. So instead of using the 174 funds, which can be used other places other than just in roads, since Road Sales Tax District A did have a surplus of funds, available funds in its balance, we took that 174 money out and just replaced it with with the Road Sales Tax District A.
Yeah, road sale tax didn't have enough available funds, right?
It didn't,
Yes.
it didn't have that originally, but now it's got funds in it.
Right.
So the
At the time it
project
was
is gonna get
created.
done. The
Right.
project is
But
absolutely still
That's the
funded.
next question.
Right.
With the funds you added, the 200,000 to the 700,000, you got 900,000. Is that enough to do the Abbey Road and that ditch?
It was the amount of
Along
money
Lake
that was
Howard.
originally needed for the project.
The what?
It's the same amount of money that was originally needed for the project. So yes, it should have the same funds.
I'd like to see that in that resolution for Abbey Road.
Yeah, and so they just you made sure you completely deleted road sales tax District A's funds, right? So you took the 200,000, where you could use it elsewhere and just completely depleted road sales tax A to practically nothing or nothing, so you could use the money elsewhere, right?
Well, if you don't put in the dedicated funds, then the dedicated funds, you have to find for a very limited window of where you can use them. If you use them on these projects, you actually have more discretion with the funds as they're moved out. So, the road sales tax A funds could only be used for limited purposes, and this is one of them. Now, the Abbey Road project and the Abbey Road Lakes project, are fully funded. So there's
Right,
been no
but
change
it
on
was
that.
funded without taking that 200,000, it was just funded from another source.
It was funded
But you
from.
chose to change that to deplete road sales tax A, which has to be used all year long, is that correct?
Well, depletion is a choice of words. The thing is,
So
we're
what is your
using.
choice of words
My
for it?
choice of words is we're using dedicated money on projects that are eligible for dedicated money, and we're giving you back money over which there's more discretion. You can put the general fund money back into it if you want, but then you're not gonna have money for if a pump breaks.
Anything else, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the balance for the fund balance right now is about $78,000 for 2019. General fund. It's about 78,000.
Yes. So we need to put money back in the general fund, or else you're not gonna be able to cover the contingencies as they come up.
That's not where the funds went back to, though. It went to the emergency fund, the 200,000. It didn't come from the general fund.
But yeah, the emergency fund, it went to the emergency fund. But your emergency fund, you took 318,000 out for civil defense. and you're leaving about 468,000 in emergency fund. Now, if we get a storm, if we get a flood, 468,000 gonna be enough for the fund balance?
Mr. Jimmy?
We don't have a flood, but anyway, we're trying to budget the money we have. I don't know if y'all listened to the guy that that came out here. He said that we were spending more money than we're taking in. So it's tough. It really is, because y'all continue to want to spend money we don't have. So we can do whatever we can do, but end run is that money, it's all the funds balances are getting down to zero. So there's nothing left to take, people.
The emergency fund is actually almost at $500,000 with all these projects in,
468,000.
Yes, sir.
But we, Mr. Chair.
We usually keep about $1 million in it.
Yeah,
Or eight,
right.
well, if you look back in the last few years, it's going anywhere from 400 to 800. So it's not
Normally
way
keep
out.
about
it's
$1 million,
not-
$1.2 million.
Well, if you look back at the actual numbers in the budgets from the years past, which I did before I agreed, well, not that it was totally my decision, but before I agreed, I guess you can say, with doing that to this fund.
And to get back to the president's remark, we're not spending money that we didn't have. I'm talking about money that was budgeted for these projects. I just don't want to see it disappear and so say, because it's in that parameter, we don't have to do the work. I don't want to hear that again. So I want to make sure that my 200,000 be allocated to that project.
Anything from the public? Mr. Cantrell, you have your light on?
I just want to tell Mr. Jones the projects are fully funded and they're not disappearing. We did our best to make sure that all projects are fully funded. It wasn't easy, but we did it.
Any comment from the public? 19-174, state of emergency. Oops. Not, where are we at?
We just finished 17 and 18.
Oh, 18.
161.
161, road sales tax, District 2. Any comment from the council? Any questions from the council? Anything from the public? Nineteen, 174, state of emergency. Any comment from the council? Any comment from the public? Number 20, 181, coastal zone management. Any comment from the council? Any comment from the public? 21, 185, beachfront development commission. Any comment from the council?
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah, where
Daniel?
was that transferred to? That
Mr. Jimmy?
275? It doesn't tell you where it was transferred. I didn't see it.
The beachfront was royalties money, so it went back to royalties.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Jones?
in the book, it's showing from royalty back to coastal zoning. That's not what you're showing?
Let the record show Mr. Otan stepped out at 5:30 PM.
Working on it.
I go to the next few while he's looking
Yeah,
that
please
up.
just give me a moment. I got to find that
Number
project number.
22, 196, FEMA acquisition elevation. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? 23, 601, workers' comp. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Number 24, 801, BP oil spill. Any comments from the, any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Mr. Hemel?
I'm trying to find
Still
the beach,
waiting on,
the beachfront project.
which number, civil defense?
Civil defense is on 001 fund. I don't think he answered that one, did you?
I can't remember if it was on there. Let's see.
And some road sales tax too.
Let the record show, Councilman Otan stepped back in at 5:32 PM.
Is he leaving over? Sure. Doesn't say it. I don't blame him.
Are we still waiting on the civil defense answer?
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones?
Civil defense, he didn't answer that part yet. Civil defense question yet. Was that answered for you? Okay. I
So we're
think
still waiting on civil
Still waiting
defense
civil
and
defense. Beachfront.
beachfront.
I thought. Yeah.
I don't think that it makes sense to move on to questions on the budget because, these haven't been answered.
If Mr. Jones can please tell me where he's seeing that, if it's in the actual 181 line items or if it's in the 299 projects in the back, that would help me find it a little quicker. Or not.
Mr. Lafont?
I'd like to make a request that tomorrow's meeting, we have the department head of finance here to answer questions, please.
Mr. Melvin?
And at least it'd be nice, since there were some questions for HR, to me, these department heads should be at least one meeting a month, if not two. It's not asking a whole lot, being that they're full-time and we're part-time, and we're here. So I just think it'd be good to have them here in case there are some questions. We have a budget once a year, we do this. Thank you.
Mr. Jimmy, can you, is that possible or no?
We can try.
Madam Chairman, we
Yes,
can, we
sir.
can move on. I don't think we'll get the answer tonight.
D, questions, discussion regarding the 2019 budget.
I got a question.
Lafont?
I'd like to know who did the budget with you, Mr. Jimmy? Who was all included when you sat down and did the budget?
Mr. Jimmy?
It was Carol, Miss Connie, myself, and Mr. Brent. I think that was it, right?
Tommy didn't sit in?
No. All the department heads participated a little bit in it. And I was out for, had eye surgery, and I was out for a week, and, and I couldn't see I still can't fully see because of the surgery. So,
Yeah, we already had the budget books by the time of your surgery, if I remember correctly.
so
Mr. Lafont, you still?
I just would like to, those people that sat on it, maybe they can be here tomorrow night when we have questions, somebody can answer. It's hard to approve a budget when you can't get answers.
Well, if you were able to get the exact thing you're asking for, it'd make it a lot easier to find what you're looking for. But when you pull numbers and we don't know where you got them from, it makes it hard to look up.
All I'm asking is where you seeing it so I can look at it myself. It's kind of hard for me to go through a 2,000-page document and pull it up.
Jones?
Lickety split. If you help me,
Yeah,
Mr.
you're right,
Jones,
it's hard to see, but I went through it, I found it, and I think they should know where to put it at.
Jesus.
Mr. Grow?
My only comment is like Joan said, you have notes, when you're moving $275,000, it shows the code and we could see that it moved to royalty, but we don't see who moved it or why they moved it. I mean, you see notes some places, but it's just like last 2 years. If you would just put notes in initial, why you putting, I mean, there are several notes in here, but when you're moving $275,000, we should have a note as to why. You wouldn't have to even ask these questions. You
Right,
know?
like the permit department.
Yeah,
did
you'd be able to
perfect
find it
notes.
easy. You know, I mean, we see notes on a lot of stuff, you know, to pay for tolls for private vehicles or reimbursement. I mean, you see different things, but it's like groundhogs. It's the same thing that happened the last 2 years. We're asking questions that we shouldn't have to answer when there's fields to put the notes in.
Mr. Jimmy?
Well, when you see what you want to ask for, why don't you write down so that we have somewhere to go to? I mean, you know, we're talking about a mammoth amount of pages to go through. Nobody has a photographic memory here that I know of. You know, so if you give us a hint where it's at, it's easier to find. I mean, it's just impossible just to remember everything in this budget. I don't care who you are, you're just not going to remember everything.
Chairwoman.
So given the fund balance number isn't sufficient, Mr. Jones?
You got a fund account number, and that's the number we get the numbers from.
Right,
So they should be able to have the same thing.
the fund
Right.
account number isn't the
Fund account
roadmap?
number is 181, you said?
185 for
Okay.
beachfront.
Thank you. 108, yeah, I know it's royalties. But I mean, you know the answer already, so I don't know why I'm having to look it up. It went back to royalties. You just said yourself, you saw that it did. I have a note here, a summary of all the changes that was made between my department and administration that we got approval on. I did a short sheet right here that I would be glad to send electronically to y'all, or I can go in the back and make copies of it and hand out. Also, I have all the emails and signed papers. There was several of them, so we summarized it and made it into one sheet. In case any questions comes up like tonight, we can have it. I would be glad to make the copies right now in the back and bring it out for each of y'all, and I know that would help the process a lot. I apologize for not putting it in the budget. It's very consuming to put it all in with all the amount of changes that we had to make. That's why it's not in it this year, but we do have all the approvals and all the changes that were made from my department until it got into administration. So if you like,
Jones?
I can go make
Mr.
the comment.
The question is, we know beachfront had 275,000. It left out of beachfront and it went into Fund 108, 275,000. The question is where it went to after, and that's what we need to know.
Well, it could have went to multiple places, wherever it was needed to 108. Look at transfer outs. I mean, it went to existing projects to help fund existing projects that were funded in the past by 108. I mean, that's all listed on the back of 108. It shows you transfer outs, and it gives you exactly where it went to. I can go through the list if you like. It's right at the back of 108, transfer outs. Let's see. It starts on page 3 of Fund 108, the summary sheets in the back. South Lafourche beachfront, we didn't transfer that out, so that stayed in here instead of going back to that project.
The question
We
is,
de-obligated it.
where did it go back to?
Lafourche Parish Sewage District number 1. Nope, we didn't go there. All right. Out to 110 for recreation for Lockport Community Center, 230,000. And it's right there. You can follow along with me. Playground equipment in Ward 6. Recreation again, 26,000. Drainage projects for districts. That's a project number 14038. Sorry, but my memory's not that well to know exactly what that project is, but it's a drainage project, 170,000. Let's see. Project 16004, which is a roads project, 454,000 plus. $100,000 to Waverly Road design. 250,000 to camera pump stations.
Mr. Jones, put on your light.
These are projects that already been funded.
Right, but if you ask them where it went out to, that's where they go to.
275,000 is not showing the trail what fund it went in. Each one of these accounts has a number.
It went back to the fund balance. It went back into royalties. It didn't go out. Specifically, it wasn't taken from one project and put in another. We just put it back in that fund in order to help sustain these projects and other projects and wherever else we needed it in royalties.
So you got $62,000 left in the fund balance?
Royalties is showing 74,363. On the,
Sorry, 74,000.
yes, sir.
All right, you can't get an answer.
Okay.
Can't get an answer.
I would like to, I know you said you will try to get people here tomorrow that can answer questions. That would be good. Mr. Jacuzo?
This is to the administration. One of the things when I was looking through the budget is that I didn't know if you had an earmark or some type of, when funds were below a certain percentage, or when you reduce the budget. I'm used to looking at a budget on a state side where when you are making reductions or transfers or you are over and under, it becomes something like what Councilman Grow was saying, but it gives you, it gives us the ability to review saying, this line item is under 2% of the funding of the benchmark that we had last year, so we have reduced this, and it pretty much just dictates to us what you had did and what you're not, and your projections of why it's low or not. I didn't see that when I went through the budget to actually look at what was the indicators of each of the areas and what was the below percentage if you hit mark or you were under mark or if you actually increase, and then you just footnoted that where we can look and go to that. I didn't see that when I was looking to do that. And I know in the state level government, we use those indicators for our projections for the future years. So I was just wondering if that's something that maybe you can entertain for next year or provide where it can helpfully dissect this size document also. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Jimmy, do you want to answer Mr. Jacuzo, or is that required an answer? I'm sure. Mr. Jimmy, no. Mr. Abadi?
Mr. Jacuzo, basically, the methodology is always being fine-tuned, and if that's a tool that would help, let's talk about it, see if we can implement it.
Any additional questions on the budget?
I just, I think, like you said, to be able to simplify it and answer this and work with it could be something that can be productive for us.
Okay. Anything else? E, presentations and/or updates. Number 11, Mr. Jerry Lewinberg, Senior Planner, to give a super quick presentation on the Lafourche Parish GIS traffic incident reporting.
Jeffrey.
Do what I say, Jeffrey?
You said Jerry.
Jeffrey. Said Jerry's on my mind. How super quick you gonna be, Jeffrey?
Probably more important than what we've already done.
Put
It's
the
not
mic
on.
Jeff. The little white button. See it?
I think so.
I think it's on.
now.
Jeffrey Lomiger, 4875
Put it a little
Highway.
bit closer to you. He won't be able to pick you up.
Jeffrey Lomiger,
Got
40
it.
4875 Matthews, Louisiana, right here at the Government Center. Later on in the agenda, item 35 kind of involves a resolution that is going to go into an agreement with, that involves our GIS data. And I thought that I wanted to do a presentation to kind of how all that resolution is based off of a lot of the data that we already have in our GIS system. So I kind of wanted to back up, show you how we've reached that conclusion. That way, when that resolution comes up, you kind of get an understanding of what we've been doing and what we intend to do with that information. So, about 4 years ago, we pretty much kickstarted our GIS system into play. And to do that, it was basically the council approved us to get a software suite from ESRI, which is a GIS company, for ArcGIS and all their data information, which allowed us to kind of kickstart the GIS database and get our parish base data all online, which was kind of the first step on getting everything together. And that kind of branched out and went to several different departments, and we've been utilizing it in various different ways and whatnot. But what I kind of want to focus on tonight is how we use it for disaster response. And we've kind of been using different apps and everything that come from that GIS data through various things for disaster response. In the last 4 years, we really haven't had any major disasters, so there hasn't been a huge test to it yet, but I'm going to kind of outline it to you how we've gone about doing it. And then after we did that, we kind of did to an everyday response where we started to branch out and include the fire departments, the sheriff departments, and whatnot. So, and then from that, you'll kind of get an understanding of when the resolution comes up later tonight, what we're trying to approve. So this is on your guys' website. It's basically just where the base data comes into play. It lists the council districts, all the other districts that are on there. It just allows the public and you guys to go search addresses, figure out who's in what districts and whatnot. It also includes the parcel district, the parcel layers that the assessor and us work very well hand in hand to make sure that that information stays up to date on our website as well as their website. So it kind of goes back and forth, and it's all there. And that is involved in every single map that is produced. So it's one of the critical it's one of the critical points that we've had, and I think that we've pretty much have gotten it working pretty well at this point. So because of that, we've started to use kind of the robust applications that were given to us through the Esri's software suite. And the first thing that we really started to do was trying to go figure out who was going to be the responder, who was going to be, how we were going to utilize that, how we were going to utilize the app after a storm. So we came up with this responder app that we've now distributed amongst both Lafourche Parish employees, and we've even started getting it out to the volunteer fire departments and the sheriff department. So basically, once a disaster hits, we will easily be able to, they'll have the apps installed on their iPad. They'll be able to go out in the field. We'll have a predetermined list of things that they need to fill out. They can attach pictures, documents, whatever. They can look at the property information while they're out in the field and press submit. And interesting. And what that does is that sends the information back to us, and and it live feeds us into a map. So as people are on the field, all that information is getting pumped back to us. And we kind of did this when Harvey hit. We had a couple of different reports that came around that we were able to go out in the field, and we deployed a couple of people, and they did a couple of points. So this kind of shows they go out, they report, instantaneously it comes up. All that information is what FEMA needs, and we just cycle that back to the reports, and it just becomes a lot easier, and we can deploy the solution pretty much instantly and easily to anybody that needs to have access. So then we were like, well, how do we use this in an everyday life or in everyday parish operations? And so then we went ahead and created an app that we kind of distributed between. We started with fire district number 3, and then we met with the fire chiefs and started distributing amongst the volunteer fire departments. And they were able to get the app on their phones, and they can go out in the field and they can start to report things. Now, this is all in-house stuff. This is only going, the people that were using it were the people that were kind of tech savvy, that they wanted to have something out in the field where they could just collect all the information, send it in, and have it. But the intent was, when an event did happen, we had the tools available. So basically, right now, we have the app that with the volunteer fire departments, and we've started to trickle around within both Lafourche Parish government and the fire department, the sheriff department, and all that. So if they want, they can go out and start reporting some of these tools. So we have the site damage report. So if something happens site-wise, like a house fire or flooding or whatever, they can report that. They can then fill out the information. It populates directly onto the map, and it's there, and it's combined with everybody else doing the population. Same with road events and whatnot. And by doing that, you can see that this is basically the dashboard that the people in the EOC room and whoever we feel needs access to that information can pull up this map. You can see there's nothing going on right now. There's a central operation. It tabulates everything. It pushes it all out, and it's all good. And all that's done through the SRI suite that I've sent access for y'all to have access to our data that we keep behind our firewall. You're more than welcome to have it. I had a way to do an interactive showing on how to do the reporting, but we'll go ahead and not worry about that just because. But then we started thinking, like, we have all this data internally, and we don't know, we need to start pushing it out publicly, because it's great that we know about the incidents, but it would be even better if the general public knew pretty instantaneously if there was a road event happening throughout the parish. So that data that we collect, some of it's secure, some of it doesn't have to be. So that data that doesn't have to be, we can push to the public. And that's where this little Connected Citizens Program partnership with Waze came into play. Waze just started a program that they're teaming up with local different communities, and they're trying to get local governments and local municipalities to start reporting in lifetime different disaster or different road incidents that are happening around their municipality, plus scheduled incidents and whatnot. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Waze app, and it's becoming much more popular. It's a subsidiary of Google, and so it starts to get farmed out. It's an easy way to get data out to the public. And so by agreeing to this contract, not only are we giving them data that that's already public facing, we're uploading it directly to that. It's getting to the people right away. But at the same time, they're giving us traffic information back to us. So I'm wrapping up, don't worry. I'm trying to go fast. So that's basically how Waze works. It's a crowdsourcing website, and the general public can do it, but when we push data to it, it'll be taken it'll be taken seriously, it'll be given 2 ways, and it'll become much quicker when it gets pushed out into the public. And that's basically this agreement that'll be on the agenda tonight, later on in the meeting. And the only thing that does is just, if you read over the agreement, it's just saying that we agree that if we use Waze and any kind of public information, we say we're using the Waze information, vice versa if they're using our information. But at the end of the day, we're getting their data, and they collect a lot of traffic data. And especially in the crisis time, they have ways of managing that and pushing that out to the public really fast that we just don't, that it helps with the general public. Plus, you have, you can schedule events later on. If there's any kind of scheduled construction projects, we just go in there, we can relay that, and it just gets out faster. And it goes back to when we have our emergency responders out in the field reporting road incidents, that goes directly to Waze. And so instead of it not ever even showing up to the general public, it gets, the general public knows 308's blocked between the two bridges, and you can go around before any of that happens. So that's basically what the agreement that'll be showing up on the agenda tonight. And I just kind of wanted to kind of backtrack and tell you where we were getting all that data from and how we're utilizing that as well. So,
Mr. Grow?
I was just gonna, so you're not, when you say pushing data, it works just like Waze to where if you have debris in the road, you can hit, there's an object or whatever, you can hit the little button. So instead of pushing, they just tie it in our system. So anytime if the fire department puts something up, it sends it to Waze, or, you know.
if they're putting it in the Lafourche Parish's system, which is behind our firewall, there are certain fields that are selected as public, and that will be the one that's getting fed to Waze at that point in time. Yeah. So it's like if they're on the field and they press the button, it comes back to us, and it says this information can go out to the public, and then it gets sent to Waze, and it's fairly instantaneously at that point, real time.
Do we have like a gatekeeper or any kind of firewall, or if anybody could just, any fireman can just put something out and it's gonna automatically go?
I mean, yeah, definitely. But I mean, we're also making sure that giving out to our public servants and whatnot, that they're handling this as,
I mean, I have a scanner and you get some crazy things come across, you know?
But-
Man, I can't believe they're talking about that.
and that's the other thing that Waze does too. Since it's a crowdsourcing, and they have any more, like, I mean, you know that the traffic can be updated on your maps within seconds anymore. If an unusual event's going on, we're notified right away. And so even if we're not getting reports out in the public about something, we get the information. So if something odd comes up, it's going to be notifying. Waze will notify us right away, and we need to know, we can figure out how to fix it and how not to, or what needs to be done.
Anyone else? Oh, Ms. Carleen?
Jeffrey, I want to commend you for that, because my office has used the council maps over and over again, and they are fabulous. The street list that's on our website from DPW is so outdated that it doesn't give us accurate information. Yours does, and it pinpoints directly to, tells us the council member's name and the district. Is that available to public as well?
Yeah,
That's good to know, because I'd like to share that with some of the public if we could. But it's been very helpful in many situations in my office if we're not familiar with a street, and we can directly go to your map and it brings it up. So thank you.
And I will put the caveat, it's definitely not 100% accurate. I mean, I don't even put 90%. But I mean,
But it's been accurate with the folks.
yeah, I'm going to say, the more people that use it, the more feedback that we get, the better we're able to, like, fish through that data and get it pushed out through whoever needs to push out. So it does help a lot when people use it. So thank you. Thank you.
I'll agree with Carleen. I think it's really great that we have that, and I can't wait to use it. Anyone else?
And shameless plug, we have a good one for the planning commission too, if you want to see current subdivision developments that are going up.
Oh,
You can see how many lots and whatnot are under development right now, but
okay.
for the planning department.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Number 12, Ms. Donna Nakhan, LSU Ag Center Parish Chair, to introduce Ms. Amanda Gibson, the new SNAP Area Nutrition Agent. Okay.
Donna Nakab, 167 St. Joseph Street, Thibodeau. Yes, I'm here to introduce Amanda Gibson, our new SNAP Area Nutrition Agent, but also to thank you for your support and to also present our report for July, August, and September, and to let you know that we are continuing to do programs throughout the parish in our agriculture department, our nutrition department, and of course our 4-H department. One of the things, Mike Abair had a new part replaced. He had knee surgery, so he couldn't be here tonight. But I wanted to also give you some timely information, and I asked him to text me that. So if you could be patient with me for 1 second while I bring that up. Of course, of all the rain, everybody's concerned about that. And also with the agriculture, he said 60% of the fallow cane land is planted, so that means 40% is not. And that's not a good prospect. That's over 2,000 acres. 50% of the soybeans have not been harvested, and he says it's much of the harvested beans are not in good condition because they're moldy because of the rain. He shared this with me that one of the farmers had to sell a bushel for $2 a bushel, where it usually goes for $10 to $12 a bushel. 30% of the cattlemen, and this is another issue, we've been getting phone calls from farmers, have not made hay because of the rain. And they may not get to make hay at all for the winter. Lack of hay could also result in cattle sell-offs if the winter is bad. And, but on the upside, sugar harvest is 45% complete. Tonnage is up 5 tons per acre over the last year. And, but sugar is also down 20 pounds per ton compared to last year. So sugarcane is up from last year, but next year it may not be as prosperous. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I'm sure Mike would be more than willing to take any phone calls if any of y'all had any more questions about the agriculture here in Lafourche Parish and what's going on as far as that's concerned. But right now I'd like to introduce Amanda. We continue to service Lafourche Parish. We're getting ready to hire in January an agronomist who will be concentrating on the sugarcane industry. In the meantime, Mike continues to do that as well as cattle and pasture. So Amanda, if you want to say a few words.
Amanda Gibson, 350 High Ridge Drive, Houma, Louisiana, 70363. Thanks so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it because I'm very passionate about what I do. Louisiana has a huge problem. Over 35% of the population is obese, and with obesity comes type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, certain types of cancers. I'm a registered dietitian. I live in Terrebonne Parish, but I've spent many years going to school in Lafourche Parish, and I've really enjoyed working in Lafourche Parish, getting to know all the towns and the people of Lafourche Parish. I am in Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish. I supervise an educator in Terrebonne Parish. I have a lot of plans for Lafourche Parish. I really want to make Louisiana a healthier place, and I believe it starts with boots on the ground. I'm working really hard to partner with different organizations. I will be going into the Head Starts, all the classrooms, and educating the kids. I have partnered with the Wallace Community Center with the Beyond the Bell kids. So let me back up a little. SNAP Ed Nutrition, we educate low-income families. We do series of programs teaching them about healthy eating on a budget. We believe that, teaching these skills will help prevent all these health problems that we're seeing in Louisiana. So it's very important to me to really educate as many people as I can. That being said, I am not from here, so I'm learning about Lafourche. It's a very long parish. So if you guys know of any towns or any places that specifically need nutrition education or could benefit from my services, please let me know. I am more than willing to go wherever I need to go. Another part of SNAP Ed is that we work in building healthy communities. I have laid down stencils at the Wallace Center to increase physical activity. It's hopscotch and foursquare. So we basically paint the cement to encourage physical activity in kids. So that's another thing. If you know of a place that could benefit from a healthy community, we could do a community health forum, get a community input, and then develop a coalition from that, and really help to change things. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Mr. LaFont?
You got any good fried recipe, fried food recipes?
I hear those air fryers are pretty good.
No, thank you. I fry in lard, by the way.
Fry and lard?
I gotta get
I'll
close
forgive
to
you,
'em.
but I might have to come educate you guys. No, but seriously, thanks again for allowing me to be here today, and I look forward to working in Lafourche.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Miss Lucy.
Mr. Perilou.
I just want to mention, Ms. Nockamp, thank you for the invitation for Saturday. They had the annual 4-H sugar and seafood competition for the kids at Galliana Elementary. And I volunteered to be one of the judges. And I think I actually had to try about 45 or 50 dishes. And it was like in the morning, and it was sweets, cookies, cakes, and pies. And then they came around and said, all right, who wants to volunteer to do the lunch, the seafood portion? I was like, no way possible. But it was an outstanding event. It was ran to perfection. So I wanted to thank you guys for what you're doing for the kids of Lafourche.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. We had a great time. Thank you.
Mr. Lorraine?
So what about the fishing industry? We don't have anybody?
You have to come to the mic. Sorry.
Yes.
And your name and address
I'm
again.
sorry. Donna Knockham, 167 St. Joseph Street, Thibodeau. We do. We have a fisheries agent, Nicole Lundstrom, and she is available to answer any questions about ponds or I'm not exactly sure her expertise. I know she graduated from Nichols, and she worked for the Barataria Estuary Program for a while, and she's familiar with ponds and fisheries, but yes, we can get you in touch with.
I'm more or
with her.
less talking about commercial fishermen.
Okay, I know she does work
'Cause
with the commercial fisheries.
I was somewhere the other night, and they had a fella there that bought shrimp years ago, probably 30 years ago, with that same place down the bayou, below Golden Meadow. That shrimp shed is still there. Got a lot bigger. Used to, in 1 year, he said he would buy about 5 million pounds. Today, you can't even buy 1 million pounds.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, let's try not to let it die, which it's probably already dead.
Yeah, those things are very sad and unfortunate, and I'm sure probably Nicole could probably shed more light on that than I can.
Right. I know Mr. Allen because he's deceased and he was already gone.
Right.
But he used to keep up with a lot of that. And I was just wondering, I heard diabetes and I heard sugar cane, but I didn't hear nothing about seafood. And I think diabetes, the best thing they have is walking. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I walk.
Yeah, you're right.
And it helps me.
Absolutely.
No, you're not going to kill me, no. But thank you anyway.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Legal advisory report, none. G, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carleen?
Ms. Lois Adams, if you'd approach the podium. State your name and address for the record, Ms. Adams, and please remember you have 3 minutes.
My name is Lois Adams. My address is 419 West 15th Street, La Rose, Louisiana. And the reason I'm here is to address the way Mr. Daniel Lorraine talked to one of the workers at the food distribution, and the way he talked to me too. Matter of fact, it was Miss Stacy Savoy. She thought I can't say exactly what she thought, but my thinking was he was talking to a group of people, and I guess she thought he wanted everybody to hear. So she said, excuse me, would y'all be quiet? Mr. Lorraine is trying to make an announcement. And he turned around and told her, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to these people over here. And as far as you are concerned, you won't be here long no way, because I will make a telephone call and you will no longer be here. And I heard him all through the procession, the hallway. I heard him making that statement. And he also made a statement to me that I didn't care for. And he is supposed to be a councilman, and that's the way he talks to people. I don't think it was right. And that's why I'm here. Anybody have any questions for me?
What did he tell you that you said you didn't like?
He said, I'm not talking to you either. He was at another group talking to some people. And I said, that wasn't right, the way you talked to Miss Sawa. He said, well, I'm not talking to you either. So what you got to do with it? And I felt like that was downright disrespectful for him to do and say to me, not
Can you
only
speak
as
into
a
the mic,
woman,
please?
but as a senior citizen.
Okay. You just need to put your mouth by the mic so we can get you on the record. Mr. Daniel?
Yeah, let me just say this, that I've been a councilman for 35 years, and all I've done in my life was help people, and I'm going to continue to help people. What happened here, you have to know the whole story. And I'm not going to get into a shouting match with her and all these people. First of all, I had people, I go to the commodities, because I like to talk to the elderly, and I mix, and I talk to a lot of people, and I get a lot of questions asked for trying to help them on different occasions. So the truth of the matter is, I was minding my own business, roaming around talking to people, and I had some people come up to me. Said, Mr. Lorraine, what is this petition? They want us to sign a petition against you and Jerry Jones? I said, hey, if you want to sign it, sign it. Most people signed it. And you know what I told them? That's fine with me. After they found out it was against me and Jerry, they wanted to go erase their names because I didn't do anything wrong. I'm talking to two ladies, a Miss Griffin and a Miss Landry. And your director, who I have no use for, interim director, was sitting in the front about 20 feet from me and said, Mr. Lorraine, why don't you tell the people that you want to send community action to Morgan City, and you voted against the LaHeap? I said, lady, first of all, I ain't got to tell these people anything. I'm talking to these two people. We were talking general. I asked her how her daughter was doing, and she told me. She has a special child, and she told me. And then I also asked her how her husband was doing, because I went to school with him. We graduated if he was still carving. Then all of a sudden, Savoy, I'm not going to say Miss Savoy, Savoy, jumps on me and says, starts fussing me and saying, do you want to tell all these people, about 40 people, that you want to bring everything to Morgan City and not vote for LaHeap? I said, I don't have to tell them anything. And by the way, excuse me, I'm talking to these two people in general, and you mind your business, and I'm going to mind my business. And that's what I said. Ma'am, you could barely stand up where you're at right there.
What you mean I can barely stand
Okay.
up? I am a 72-year-old
All right.
woman.
I'm not going to take the
Hey.
criticism, okay?
All right, one person
I
can talk
told
at a
you.
time.
Standing up now.
I told you my story.
And Mr. Jones' name was never mentioned in my presence. His name was never mentioned in my presence.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I did. I put this on the agenda because we're going to talk about it. We just did. And I turned in my complaint in writing. Now it's up to the administration to take the proper action. I got my witnesses. I got more witnesses than you can dream of.
You probably do.
Oh, I know I do.
You probably do.
Them people love me to death. You're in my territory.
Except I may be in your territory, Mr. Lorraine, but I am not yours, okay?
That's fine with me.
I am a registered voter.
Go
I
ahead.
can
Go
say what
ahead.
I want to say, when I want to say it, just like you do, okay?
But-
Just remember that. I am a registered voter,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, I wish you would vote.
I did vote.
Well,
I
good.
did.
Good. I hope you won
Okay.
your vote.
We're not going to have any personal attacks and just the facts.
I did vote. Mr. Jones' name was never mentioned. And the way he's coming about with it, the polite way, the things he said, no. He didn't do it that way. Because if he would have, I've seen him there many times. If he would have, I would not be standing here tonight saying what I'm saying. Because I have no reason to lie. I am a 72-year-old woman, the mother of 5. I'm a grandmother, I'm a great-grandmother, I'm a member at the New Mount Zion Baptist Church as a door greeter, faithfully. And I believe in God. And the things I'm standing here and I'm telling y'all, he did. I have no reason to lie because I don't really know him. I've seen him, but I don't know him. Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Jones.
one question I'd like to ask the administration. Can I get a copy of that petition that went around?
Mr. Jones, we haven't seen any petition, so I've heard references to petitions, and in fact, I've got Mr. Lorraine's complaint, and obviously this is going to become a personnel issue where we're going to have to do an investigation, but the administration didn't have anything to do with the petition, and we don't have any such petition.
Well, Ms.
I don't
Adams
know
just
where-
said she signed a petition.
Yes,
though.
I understand. I don't know where that petition came from or what the disposition of it is. So, this is not an administration, it's not really, this petition is not in any way related to the administration.
Okay. Yeah, Ms. Carleen?
Ms. Chandra Martz? Chandra Martz? Chandra, I was right. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
That was me. I corrected her pronunciation. I thought it was Chandra. My apologies.
Chandra.
State your name and address for the record, Ms. Martz.
My name is
please.
Chandra Martz. My address is 99 West 15th Street, La Rose, Louisiana, 70373. I'm here to address the fact that community action may be moving to St. Mary Parish. My question is, why so far away? I am the person who started the petition. There is no reference of Mr. Jerry Jones on this petition, and there is no reference of Daniel Lorraine on this petition. It says this petition is to keep community action in Lafourche Parish, and it was signed by 102 people. Do I need to give this to anyone?
Do you,
Mr.
does
Jones? someone
want to, I don't think he wants
Please
it.
give it to the
Jones, he
administration.
doesn't
Let
want
the
it. It's not
administration give it to
administrative.
Okay, what I did was, I got scared because I heard that community action was leaving.
No, let me let Mr. Jones explain what leaving means, and he
But
can better
can I
explain.
finish what I
Sure.
have to say first,
Sure.
please? And then you can do whatever you want to do.
Sure.
I'm sure that's going to happen anyway. But I was expressing my First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and that was my freedom to get this petition signed. Community action has helped me out a lot. It helped me get through school my last year when Voc Rehab stopped paying my tuition and stopped paying my rent and my light bill, and they put food on my table. For a lot of people, with this moving, it's going to hurt a lot of people. They may not be here to say so verbatim, but I have 102 signatures from only the South Lafourche area. I think a lot of people are just not aware of what community action brings to Lafourche Parish and what it has meant to Lafourche Parish. And I will continue to get signatures until a resolution is made. I can let you see this petition if you like, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones?
But the staff had nothing to do with me getting this, but they did give me the paper. I asked for paper, but they didn't know what it was for.
I guess the first question I'm gonna ask is who said it was going to St. Mary Parish?
It was in the newspaper, sir. It was said that it was, I read an article, I believe the two people that I remember speaking in the article was Richmond Boyd was for moving, community action to St. Mary Parish, and I believe there was a Sylvester Spears that was opposed to it. Now, the whole, if I would have thought about it, I had already thrown the newspaper away after I read the article, but I'm sure that it's in the archives and I can get copies of it if I need to keep going with this presentation.
Right, and that happened right at this meeting, but it was never to move community action out of Lafourche Parish to St. Mary. It was St. Mary coming over here to supervise and do the right thing for community action. St. Mary can bring a lot of stuff here. We got two programs, LAHEAP and CSBG, all right? Merging with St. Mary is a win-win situation for this parish. St. Mary got child food and adult program. They got transit.
Just like Terrebonne Parish, right?
They got CSBG. They got revolving loans, capital reserves. They got LAHEAP. They got summer feeding, housing, rental assistance. Same as here, but they got more affordable housing program. They with the Department of Energy on weatherization. St. Mary took over weatherization here a few years ago, and St. Mary took over weatherization and did the right thing in this parish. I had one complaint, and that complaint wasn't really for weatherization. It was for a guy that was a licensed electrician, was doing the weatherization work, and a lady had problems with a light switch. And he told her that he would fix that light switch when he get completed with the weatherization work. He forgot to do it. Light switch is totally not weatherization. What I called him, that guy came from Franklin. He was on a job in Franklin, came back, fixed her light switch. That's the only problem I had with weatherization. Never nobody else called. And the program been working right. Fine, great. This is something I don't never throw away, my notes for community action. Right here, and I've been in it a long time. This is all some wrongdoing stuff, and it's back in the days. And it's time right now, it's time to straighten it out. Community action, people need it right, 100% in Lafourche Parish, but we needed to do right. You got advantages, you got tuition, you got rental system, but we got a lot of other people that need assistance too. And St. Mary, with the expertise, the A rating from the state of Louisiana, can bring a lot here. It's a win-win situation for Lafourche Parish.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
With this community action also in St. Mary Parish?
Yes.
Is it also governed by that parish, or is it a private entity?
It's a nonprofit organization that does it.
Is it a private entity?
It's a nonprofit organization.
I understand what you're saying, but you're not answering my question.
It's not a private, it's a nonprofit organization. This
So
is the audit book right
Is it
here.
governed by any government body?
It governs by a board, the board of directors.
But I mean, let me explain myself, because I might not be, you might not understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, like, community action has been a part of Lafourche Parish and has been governed by the parish, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm asking you is, you're saying it's a nonprofit organization. I understand that in St. Mary Parish, and I know what that means. But what I'm asking you is, who is going to govern this program if it's moved to St. Mary Parish? Is there going to be a government body?
The program is
this
not
program.
moving to St. Mary. Community Action will remain in Lafourche Parish. The Board of Directors govern it. There's going to be 2 or 3 board members from this parish on that board. And once a year, they will come give a report to this council. Maybe not this council, but to Lafourche Parish Council.
Okay. Well, you know, actually, I was just exercising my First Amendment, and your name never came up to anybody that signed this petition. Neither did Mr. Lorraine's.
But I
And let me be specific and be clear on this. I did this. Chandra, Charlene, Marks. I did this on my own because I know what community action meant to me.
And I can assure you that not one penny can leave out of this parish and go to St. Mary. To fund anything in St. Mary, the money has to be spent here.
Okay, well, I have the petition, and I must say I must do some more research, Mr. Jones. I mean, no disrespect to any of you council members, but as a citizen, it's my right to protect what I feel like is necessary to be protected.
I think it got some numbers in here for St. Mary Parish Community Action, if you want to call them.
I'll call them. Call them for what?
Or you wanted more information?
No, I said that I would do more research.
Well, if you want to research
I'm
about
not an attorney,
them.
Mr. Jones.
I'm not either, but if you want more research and they can answer your questions, I'm very happy to give you their number.
I'm sure. I've been in touch with the lady who's in charge of weatherization. I needed some work done to my house, but because I had termite damage, they cannot touch it.
Because it's not covered under weatherization.
Right, she told me that, and I felt bad about that because it's really a big problem finding the funding to get my house done. But, you know, that's their guidelines.
That's not their guideline, that's weatherization guidelines.
That's weatherization
Weatherization deal with
guidelines in
doors,
St. Mary
windows,
Parish.
ceiling,
Right,
caulking.
right. And I understand that.
Thank you.
Mr. Abady?
Madam Chair, I just offered to, I know that we all are looking at this political football called a petition, but on reconsideration, as a citizen, I think she does have a constitutional right to petition the government for redress. So I'm not saying that we're the right people or that it has much consequence, but I think that it is incumbent upon the government who she wants to petition to accept, at least accept her petition. So if you want to give me the petition, I'll take it. I can't guarantee that it'll do anything, but, you know, we do respect your constitutional rights, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Abady. Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to say that whatever you're hearing, everything will remain in Lafourche regardless of what happens. There were some people come up to me over there and said, we're going to have to go get our commodities in Morgan City. That's what they were being told. Now that's low. That's low. And we're going to have to go get our LaHeap in Morgan City. And none of that's true. None of that's true. But I want to apologize to that lady, Miss whatever her name is, 72-year-old lady, Adams. When I said that, I shouldn't have said that. I said it through frustration, but I'm going to apologize to you on that part. What I said, I shouldn't have said. But I said it, so I'm going to apologize to you. I'm big enough to apologize on you not being able to stand up. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Now, we might agree and we might
You can't
disagree.
speak from the audience. You have to come up to the microphone if you have something else to say. Okay. Go ahead. Are you done?
No, and that's the part I want to express.
I'm sorry, you have to be on the microphone if you have something to say. You were talking from back there. I thought you had something else to add. That's all. Just state your name and address again for the record,
Lois
please.
Adams, 419 West 15th Street, Larose, Louisiana.
All right.
Mr. Lorraine was apologizing to me,
I did.
and I was accepting
Oh,
it.
okay.
Because
Thank
I
you.
am a Christian.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Carleen?
Reverend-
Let the record show that Mr. Melvin left at 6:30 PM. Stepped out at 6:30 PM. And Mr. LaFont is walking around. All right.
Reverend Taylor? State your name and address for the record, Reverend. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
That would be great. I wish.
I think I was at an earlier meeting last month, and I heard a great deal about who's going to be in charge of this program, and
I need you to make sure the microphone's lifted up to you. You're very soft-spoken.
who's
so-
going to be in part,
There you go.
who's going to be in charge of the community action program. I've done some more research, and I'm absolutely amazed at the politics of this. I heard Mr. Lorraine address the interim director disrespectfully. I've investigated the young lady, and she has worked for community advancement for years. She's been a very competent person who is doing a very competent job. Now, I understand that the program has some problems, but those problems have arisen and are involved with people who have been in charge. I sat here last meeting when I spoke and watched Mr. Richmond Boyd, and this entire council deferred to him as if he had some control to make some kind of final decision above and beyond what you could do. And I've learned that certain funds have been remanded or forfeited because Mr. Boyd wouldn't have a meeting. I found that to be absolutely ridiculous. Number one, you're a government body, and there are rules about government bodies transferring their authority to people. I voted in an election. I didn't vote for Mr. Boyd to be in charge of anything. I voted for my council person, and other citizens voted for their council person. You were in charge. I didn't put Mr. Richmond Boyd in charge. And if those funds were forfeited, it wasn't on Mr. Richmond Boyd's watch. Mr. Richmond Boyd had no authority to do anything. This council has the inherent authority to tell him to shut up, sit down, and we will determine what is going to happen. I can't understand. I see your head shaking. I've talked
Yes,
to...
because when a public wishes to address the council, for the most part, when they stay on topic, it's our duty to let them speak.
I thought I was on topic, and
No,
if
but I'm saying,
not-
Mr. Richmond Boyd, you said we should have told him to shut up and sit down, and that wouldn't be appropriate for me to
Well,
do
those
that.
words, maybe the words are strong. I think you understand what I mean. When I say that, I think that this council should have asserted its authority, and there should have been no forfeiture of funds without this council saying so. You have a home rule charter, and apparently there are things in that advisory board document that are incorrect understandings of
Just a minute,
authority.
sir. Your 3 minutes is up. Does someone want to relinquish time? Mr. Jacuza, you have 3 more minutes.
Thank you. That need to be corrected. And the question is, who had the responsibility to do those corrections? I understand Mr. Jones is a liaison with that advisory committee. I understand, and I have read several opinions from the Attorney General. I heard Mr. Lorraine, and I will refer to you as Mr. Lorraine, say some things about the interim director. I read an Attorney General opinion that said the interim director
was appropriately appointed. Now, and that the parish president had the authority. So why is this contempt being expressed in a public meeting toward one of your employees? That doesn't seem very fair to me. There's a petition going around. I have a copy of it and I've seen it, and I am going to continue with that petition. And the question that I have is, I know there's some political thing about transferring this to, it is a private party, this nonprofit corporation, away from government authority. And it seems to be directed, I'm not into your politics, don't care about it, but it seems that poor people are being injured. Forfeiture of funds, of those particular funds that are needed by people. I grew up poor, so I know about commodities. I stood by the railroad track and got them from my grandmother and my great-grandmother. Now, the question is, are you saying that your people that you've hired a program are incompetent? They don't appear to be. Or is there something else behind this? The conflict between the parish president and some folk are obvious. I read a court petition. I don't know whether you approved the court petition or not. You're in conflict. Somebody is suing the parish president about a decision he made and some interpretations of your rules and who you can hire. All of that. The public is not yet
Reverend
aware
Taylor,
of
but
all
the
of that.
council has no control over that. If somebody's suing the parish president, that's beyond the scope of these chambers. Your topic was harassment. Can you please zero it in because 6 minutes is about to be up?
You have a district attorney who is responsible for representing you and responsible for representing the parish president, and the conflicts arise out of community action, and I'm kind of wondering how that happens. I've never heard of an attorney who represents, who's authorized to represent two bodies.
Your 6 minutes is up. If someone else relinquishes time to you, you'll be able to continue to speak. Does someone want to, Mr. Otas, relinquish 3 more minutes?
It's a conflict of interest. You don't have to be an attorney to know what a conflict of interest is.
Again, that is not in charge, this council is not in control of what the role the district attorney plays in Lafourche Parish. That is nothing we can do anything with right here.
That is, excuse me, you are the parish council. The district attorney is your attorney. As far as I know, the parish council controls what the district attorney does on their behalf.
No, sir.
And if there is some confusion about that, I plan to make sure that gets straightened out.
Okay.
The parish attorney represents you. I'm an attorney. I have a client. You are the client. I don't tell the client what to do. I represent the client. The client has to tell me.
Reverend Taylor,
Yes.
what does that have? Can you bring it back to harassment is what you stood up to speak? We cannot do anything about the district attorney role.
All of
We
this
have to move along.
All of this arises out of the mellow of the community action program, all of it. The harassment arises out of it. There was a woman over there who was doing a petition. I have a petition and I've talked to her, so I think I know what happened over there.
Were you there? Were you there?
I talked to the people who were there. I have received several additions to what you have about people describing what was there and what happened there. And I think there is a serious First Amendment violation, and I think you need to address it. People come in with petitions. They can do their petitions. They have a right to redress their grievances of government. That's the First Amendment. And so nobody should be over there hollering at them. Nobody should be hollering at Ms. Savoy because she's allowed it. And nobody should be coming in a public meeting saying to her, I have nothing to do with you. She's an employee, and she has a right to be respected. Now, why is that conflict going on? I think I know. Mr. Contrell fired her predecessor. All of this, the harassment, everything arises out of this conflict over community action. It
Okay,
all
so the point
arises
to
out of
this
that.
is, we've been here too, we understand what's causing the problems. So your point is what? We really have to move on.
My point is that there are a lot of people who disagree with you and your conclusions about you have to transfer this program to a private entity, which
Okay.
means that somebody else is going to be controlling it instead of you. There are lots of people who are opposed to that, and I plan to make sure. I met with some preachers last night.
Okay, 9
I
minutes
plan
is
to
up
make
now.
sure.
Excuse me, 9 minutes is up. Does someone else want to relinquish 3 minutes? Mr. Lafont.
I plan to make sure that citizens in this parish, especially the poor, because this involves the poor. You know, a lot of people represent the poor. I've been doing it all of my professional career. They don't have spokesmen here. And all of the intricacies about what's going to happen, we have, I've done some investigation about the weatherization program and what really happened to it historically. The conflict has to be resolved, and I think that you need to listen to the public.
Okay.
All this win-win stuff, I don't see win-win. I see that somebody is attacking the present employees who are doing a good job in trying to keep this program afloat. They seem to be doing very well at it. They seem to be doing the things that have to be done to correct. The new director seems to be doing the things that are needed to correct this program. And somebody doesn't want her to have a chance. Why? Because Mr. Contrell appointed her?
Okay, that's more speculation, and we just need to move on with the meeting.
Is the 3 minutes the gentleman gave me up?
No, just,
I got a
Okay.
question, though.
Yeah.
go ahead, Mr. Lafont.
And look, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I don't think you gave us the opportunity here, because this has never come up to a vote yet to see if it's going
Yes, sir.
to Morgan City. And I can tell you right now,
Yes, it,
I'm not even sure if it will go to St. Mary's Parish.
Yes, sir.
So, you know,
Mr.
so before you
Lafont,
come,
I think it did come to a vote.
we didn't vote on it.
Mr. Jones? Mr.
We
Jones?
voted on bringing it to get an opinion.
A resolution went to the state.
That's right. We never
Resolution went
voted
to
on
the
to give
state.
it to St. Mary's Parish. I never voted on it.
Okay, maybe you were not here that day, but to give it to the, to
No,
have the
we
state
voted
take,
on to get an opinion.
and to give it to the state would make the decision at that point, right,
Then I
Mr.
get-
Jones?
Yeah, that's,
It's to get permission from the state. We never voted on giving, we would have to vote as a council to say we're giving it to St. Mary after we get the state's opinion. We never gave it up.
Mr. Jones, is that how you understood it?
that resolution was, agreement with the state. And the state decide St. Mary's better fit, then St. Mary would get it.
That's not how that amendment was, that's not how that was written, and that's not how it was explained. That night it was explained that it was only going to the state, for the state to give us an opinion on if we should do it or not. That was it. That's what I voted on. I was here for that vote.
And I think you are correct. This council seems to be deferring its authority. And now someone is saying it's deferred to the state. No, it's not. You can ask the state for an opinion as to whether or not you can do that, but then it's your decision as to whether you in fact do that. And I agree. And I am specifically asking this council to allow the citizens to voice their opinions.
Okay,
Okay, that's all.
okay.
You haven't done it yet, but there is strong voices saying, we want to do this. And I think you need to examine a little bit more as to why you want to do this, and who wants to do this, and for what reasons they want to do this. Why is Mr. Lorraine calling an employee
Okay.
names?
I can't begin to speculate what happened and why Mr. Lorraine's doing anything he's doing, nor can anyone else on this council. None of us are Mr. Lorraine's supervisor either. The 11,000 residents that he represents are his boss. So I can't control him in any way, shape, or form because I have no authority over Mr. Lorraine nor any other council member. Mr. Grow, you have something?
Yeah, I understand the Community Action Board is meeting tomorrow. We got an email a couple weeks back that they were scheduling a meeting for the 14th. You might want to reach out and try to go to, their meetings are open, and go and voice your
That's a
opinion
great
there.
idea.
Well,
What time and where is it?
I don't know, I just had the email saying that they having a meeting.
Mr. Jones, do you know what time and where is that meeting so he can go and voice his opinion?
Community action, the board, we has a council meeting, that's an ordinance.
No, but where are they meeting tomorrow?
They cannot have a meeting when we have a council meeting.
Did they reschedule?
They probably reschedule it.
It was scheduled for tomorrow. We have a special meeting.
I think I'm addressing the right body. You're the ones in control, not that committee. They are, as I understand it, an advisory committee. I looked up the word advisory, and it means just that, somebody who advises. They are not in control. You're in control. And I'm, as a citizen, I voted for persons on this council to be in control. You are the government. And now the government wants to transfer. I think Mr. Boyd was given the authority. We're going to test it.
Okay,
We are going
Thank you.
to test it.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I don't think you do, but you will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Stacy Savoy, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, Miss Savoy. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
My name is Stacy Savoy. I live at 511 Dax Place, Thibodeau, Louisiana. I'm addressing this council with harassment issues by a councilman. What Mr. Lorraine stated is not what happened. I've never disrespected anybody. I did not start an argument with anybody. The lady passing a petition, I don't even know her. The other ladies he was arguing with, I don't know them either. Mr. Daniel got mad with me because that lady was passing a petition and he thought I had something to do with it, me or the staff. Nobody asked Mr. Daniel nothing about weatherization, LIHEAP, CSBG, nothing. Nothing. He came in that council chambers where we were servicing the clients, and he started talking loud to the clients. Some people were still engaged in their own conversations. I was trying to get them to respect Mr. Lorraine was talking. He turned around and went off on me, telling me to shut up, mind my business where I was, don't mind his. He was going to make sure I get fired because I was in no interim director. He never recognized me as being no person as interim director. I didn't tell Mr. Lorraine anything at that time. He went on to pursue how he was going to get me fired. And then I told him the same thing. I'm about to say this again tonight. You cannot remove me from a position that you did not put me in, is what I told him. And he went on to say how he was going to force his powers. And I said, Mr. Daniel, you do what you feel you have to do, and I'm going to do what I've been doing. And that's staying on these 2 knees praying for devils like you. And I immediately reported to administration because I was clearly being harassed and embarrassed in front of clients that we service. He went on to disrespect that lady that was passing a petition saying she was a bunch of trash. And he was not concerned with that piece of paper she had in her hand. And I stood up and I said, Mr. Daniel, I cannot allow you to disrespect the client in here. That is absurd, and you need to stop. I got it videoed on my phone. After the incident happened, he sent another client to go get Mr. Paul Chiquette, and him and Mr. Paul Chiquette hovered in a corner, plotting about how they was going to bring it and address it to this council. I have it on my phone. I also have...
On your phone, you could hear what they were saying, the plot?
Some of it. I also have some witness statements from some of the clients who was present, and they put their contact number. And if you come to the next distribution, I'm sure you'll find more people willing to talk. I'm sick and tired of being harassed. I'm only doing a job that I was assigned to do. I did not come to fight with nobody, and I said that in the September meeting. I will not let Mr. Daniel harass me.
Excuse me a minute. Can someone relinquish time? Mr. Otan, thank you. Continue.
I will not have Mr. Daniel disrespect me. Mr. Daniel feel he have powers. I may not have all the connections he have, but I do have knowledge. And in case you don't know, knowledge is power. I'm not going to be disrespected. I'm not going to disrespect nobody. I don't care what he say and who he say it in front of. That's him looking ignorant. I'm not stooping to his level. But he will not continue to bully me around. The Home Rule Charter states the council responsibility. And at the bottom, it clearly states the council has nothing to do with staff and nothing to do with the programs. So there's no reason Mr. Daniel should be harassing me. There's no reason no councilman should be bringing me up here about why the offices is closed on a Friday and what they think they should tell the executive director to do, whether it was me or the former executive director. We tired of being bullied. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to be disrespected. And I'm not going to be bullied either. So if anybody got any questions, I can
Mr.
answer them
Lorraine.
at this time.
Yes. First of all, I never said anything you said. I never said you were going to get fired. You got witnesses, but I have a bunch of witnesses too, baby.
The witnesses
I got a
here.
bunch of witnesses, and we're going to contact them.
You contact them, Mr.
And
Daniel.
you are going to be surprised at what they're
Mr.
going to
Daniel.
say. Everything
person
that
at
you
a
said,
time.
you are
Finish
one
speaking, Mr.
big
Daniel.
liar. And I'm telling you that publicly.
Mr. Daniel,
that's
you're
you.
out of line.
And I want to ask you a question.
That's what he does. That's what he
That's
I
does.
want to
enough.
ask you a question.
That's
That-
what he does.
That's enough. One person
Wait,
at
I
a
want to ask you a
time.
question.
You got it, one person at a time.
Have
And no
you-
name calling.
Getting the position, did the advisory board ever vote for you?
Mr. Jimmy appointed me. The parish
You answered my
president.
question. You answered my
I don't
question.
know what the advisory board, why you think the advisory board got the right to hire and fire.
Because there's
that's not what
procedures
the
and
state-
you have to follow throughout the whole state, not procedures you want to follow or he wants to follow. You got to follow it completely through, and you're not doing that.
Mr. Daniel, if I'm not doing something right, then I got a supervisor who put me in a position. So if you saying the supervisor did something wrong, I think that's a discussion you
I'm
need
just-
to have with administration.
I'm just asking
'Cause-
you if the advisory board voted for you, yes or no?
Did the advisory board meet yet?
Did the advisory board vote for
advisory
you?
board meet yet?
Oh, they
Because-
met 3 times this year.
No, they didn't. They met once. March
Okay,
20th.
how is this productive at this point?
Tell me. Because I'm clearly being harassed by Mr. Lorraine. And this ain't the first time. He been doing it. And I got proof. They get up here and they say one thing, and then they turn around when the DA opinion come back that they did something wrong, and they flip the script and try to blame it on Stacy. No. What Paul Chiquette got up here and said at the last meeting, him and Richmond Boyd, about that non-compliant notification, that wasn't my rules. Y'all all know that wasn't my rules. Mr. Jones been saying it, Mr. Daniel been saying it. Anything dealing with community action have to go through that advisory board before it come before this council. It's been being said. So when I sent that letter, requested a board to meet to approve those funds, Mr. Paul got up here and said that was illegal. Well, they've been doing things illegal. Because 3 years ago, that's why my program got moved out of community action, because he pulled it at the council, saying because it didn't go before the Community Action Advisory Board. So that's clearly a admission that they've been doing illegal stuff and they've been treating us any kind of way because they feel they could do it. And I got proof to prove it. It's been going on. It's been going on. I was put on furlough status because he pulled my contract, and Mr. Jones said because it didn't go before the advisory board. It's been being done.
Just a minute, Mr. Melvin.
I'd like to say that, of course, anybody is welcome to come and address the council, good, bad, or otherwise. And I appreciate you being here and others. And I know that, just FYI, I'm just making a statement about the charter. I know, and I wasn't there, and I hope this can be resolved. If it was Mr. Lorraine or somebody in the public or somebody in this council, and I'm sorry that we're at this point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everybody, for both parties. I do know that as a new councilman that there's always been a misconception about what's stated in the charter under some circumstances where we're not supposed to give orders and make direction, and you know that's Mr. Jimmy's job. That's not our job. So I know I was called into somebody's office one day when I was asking a question to an engineer about getting a permit number, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I'm just giving you some examples that I think that, I hope that this can be worked through, but I know that there's certain things we can and can't do according to the charter. But I want to say that, again, I'm sorry that it's come to this, and it sounds like that might be an issue. I thank you for informing us, but it might be an issue between the administration and our legal counsel or whatnot, depending on what's happening or what didn't happen, because I wasn't there. But again, it sounds like that there's definitely some grievances, maybe on both sides. And I just want to know maybe what y'all can work out to move forward, because you've informed us, apparently maybe something did or didn't happen. Like I said, I was not a witness. However, I don't know what else we can do here other than we've kind of heard a little bit from both sides. And, you know, we take our licks because of, you know, having to go through certain things. And I don't know what else we can do to try and come out of this. As far as community action, we would, just going back, we were duped in the beginning as new councilmen, in my opinion, about what to do with the rec district, whether it was good, bad, or ugly. I think we took a chance, and I think we made a wrong decision, which we're going to change tonight. And I don't have any bad blood with anybody. I just did what I thought was on my heart and what would help, because it sounded good and made sense on paper. Well, we all know, you know, God bless the Saints today, but since 1967, they didn't have a winning season, but they look good on paper for years. So all I'm trying to say is I don't know what else we can do, Ms. Savoy, tonight right here at this meeting, and I am in no way trying to put anybody off, because I think anybody has the right to come to this council, because we are elected officials, we work for the public. That's number one. Y'all are number one, okay? These seats are temporary. We're elected officials. We could be gone next year, okay? So I respect that. I'm just trying to let you know that I don't know what else we can do tonight on that particular item that isn't involving a vote up or down on here that we may get to later in this agenda. What happened at somewhere else that we weren't privy to?
Right.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Right, I understand and I appreciate it, but Mr. Daniel put that on the agenda, so I had to come and address it because it's dealing with me. And a lot of stuff been being said at this council. Every action does not require my reaction. People been addressing this council portraying to be board members, and they've been expired off of that community action board. But I'm not getting up here to embarrass nobody, because they know they're not members of that community action board. They know they expired.
Who's that?
Mr. Paul Chiquette is not a member of the board. He expired June 18, 2018. The board last met March 20th, 2018. So he could not re-enlist for a second term because the board failed to meet. But he got up here and said, because he told Richmond not to give a meeting, well, he chose not to get back on the board.
I know.
Can I respond to that,
Okay.
Madam Chair? Can I respond to that real quick?
Just
Okay.
1 second, Bo. What did you say, Ms. Klein?
They stay on the board until they either reappointed
They're
or.
replaced.
Correct. That's what I was gonna say.
Can you say it on the mic, please?
Thank you.
They normally stay on the board, not normally, they do stay on the board till they either reappointed.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, that's a corrective action I had to turn into the state, and I have the proof, the documentation to prove it. When their term expire, they have to run a second term. They have to put in writing they want to run a second term. What their interest is, it has to go before the Community Action Board to be voted on in order for them to run a second term. If they didn't have a board meeting, there was nobody to approve that. Same way a board member trying to resign. They cannot just send a letter to me saying they're resigning. That has to go before the Community Action Board, and the board has to accept that resignation, and it has to be written documentation in the minutes to prove to the state what happened and what they accepted and where that agency is.
Okay, Ms. Savoy, go ahead, Mr. Jacuso.
Stacy.
How you doing?
All right. I wanted to tell you, one of the most difficult things to do is work for a board if you're a director. When you have to deal with the personalities of 7 or 5 individuals, and when you have to deal with their decision-making, and it may not always be what's fruitful for a program, and don't understand the grassroots or the grounds of the feet of those people who are on the streets and their needs, it can become challenging. And those challenges can alter production, and ultimately the production is a young man or a young woman who needs education, who needs to know that Flower can provide 3 different meals, and knows that they have lights on, and that their security is that mama's at home at night. What I want to tell you is I apologize on behalf of what took place in the parish. It's not a win-win for none of us.
Right.
But I want you to also understand, and I'm speaking from past experience of working with a board of diverse ages and diverse cultures. It's a challenge. And when you're employed by that challenge, sometimes those conflict with you personally and professionally. And just always know, if you know you're doing what's right, and you know what you're doing is what you believe in, and you're firm in it, then hold your position.
Right.
But just understand each one of those individuals also have that same feeling.
Right.
And when that conflict occurs, then we have to find a way to mediate that conflict.
Right.
And this council right now is not committed, and for me, I have not committed to anything to harm a person of Lafourche Parish from me not getting a benefit to make sure that they have a fruitful and productive life. Because it's like this, we are not all equal. We
Right.
have to have things to make us equal
Right.
when we are on a certain level. So I just want to tell you, keep at it. Just understand how those conflicts come, and that this will all work out in the wash. And if something comes up on our end, then we'll look at it and give you that fair opinion or vote.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Craig.
Mr. Parlow?
Thank you.
Yeah, Stacy, thanks again. And I apologize, like Craig, you shouldn't have to endure any type of abuse from anyone,
Right.
much less a council member, if that's the case. You know, if that's what's happened, I wasn't there. I'd like to address the administration on this issue. You're appointed by the parish president,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know that there's something in place that if she's experiencing some type of difficulties on the job and she feels like she's being harassed, that she can call somebody for some intervention. That's the job of the administration, in my opinion, to protect the employees. So
Mr.
let me hear
Avenue?
from you.
Yep, with all due respect to the council, and I know y'all are trying to take on this issue, I will tell you that I just received Mr. Lorraine's complaint about the incident. I've got an email from Ms. Savoy about the incident. I'm putting together a couple of people that we're going to try to investigate this and talk to all the witnesses. It sounds to me like this is in large part a personnel issue, and we'd actually, I would ask the council, and I think it might be more constructive, if we defer all further discussion on this tonight and let us investigate it and see if there's something that we can work out to find out exactly what happened and come to a conclusion. I appreciate the good intentions of everybody here, and if y'all want to continue this discussion, that's certainly within the power of the council, but I think that, you know, we'd like to have the opportunity to do exactly what Councilman Paraloo is asking and look into these complaints. It's certainly required under the personnel manual that we have, and I think that that's the appropriate disposition for this.
Mr. Jones?
Stacy, I'd just like to ask you one question. What role does the advisory board play in CSBG?
The advisory board needs to be involved in the poverty areas, in the geographical area that the grant funding serves for direct activities that go out to the community. They're not supposed to be doing staffing issues like adjusting staff salaries. That's not an advisory board, that's a personnel. That's a finance issue. They're supposed to look at the dollars that's allocated to go out to the people in the community and the services that we provide in the community. And let's say we got $100,000 that needs to go out to the community. We need to look at what we have lined up in place to spend that $100,000. So we might say we do assistance with medication, school uniforms. So we found in 2017 that those areas wasn't a big need in the community, we reflect back to our community assessment documentation and say, okay, well, we only spent $500 in assistance with medication. Can we find another activity where we could spend more money? Let's start paying co-pays for people who don't have Medicaid, that may have a $20, $50 copay to go to the doctor. We could put stuff like that in place and put a cap on and say we could spend anywhere from $10 up to $50. And say, okay, let's see how many people we service with that. Let's see how fast the funds move with that. Bring it back to the table in 6 months or so, readjust it and say, okay, well, nobody came in for those services. Come up with other ideas to put services in place for direct activities. As far as dealing with the staff and issues, that's more of a human resource issue. That's not an advisory board issue, and that's what the state put on that second notification telling the advisory board what their advisory powers were. And the corrective action, I only tried to fix that corrective action to keep the parish from losing those funds, because it's saying the board is out of compliance, Mr. Jerry. I've called every board member, found out, what district they was representing, because all of that stuff was turned into the state and it wasn't correct. So fixing all of that, and then finding out that some people on the board is really not on the board, and their name has been kept on that board for a while, and they're not even active board members. Proper protocol wasn't being followed for that. When we have people on the board resigning from the board, they need to put that in writing, and that needs to go before the board, where the board minutes reflect that Ms. So-and-so turned in a resignation, it was accepted.
I hate to interrupt, but are we getting into the weeds of this? I mean, this is,
Yeah, well,
we're really
I'm just
getting in the
saying
weeds
that
right now, but.
everything on CSBG has to go to the advisory board. There's a personnel committee, finance committee, equal opportunity committee, all that's described in the contract for CSBG. So,
No, I think we're gonna have to get together on that, because we're running out of time here, so I can show you where that's outlined that, it's been being done like that a while, but it's not correct, Mr. Jones.
that's come from the state.
What I'm telling you came from the state too, because I'm new at this, so I asked the state a lot of questions for me to present them with corrective actions that's done correctly. Mr. Boyd was refusing to give board dates to meet with the board. So the state told me I could give proposed dates. And at the bottom of that, I put at the bottom of that is subject to change by the board president, and if it did change, all the board members would be notified. Mr. Boyd responded to that email with an ugly email, downing me, disrespecting me, just what happened. I think it was ridiculous. I'm only stepping up trying to help keep things running. I'm not starting no conflict with anybody, because that's not who I am. That's not what I do.
Ms. Savoy, I wasn't there either.
I know.
But if what you say happened, that's beyond unfortunate. I hope
know.
that didn't happen. And if it did, and there's no sense in me apologizing, but I feel like I should if it did happen. I hope it didn't. I hope it's proven that it didn't, because that, you should not, or no one should
happened.
endure this.
It happened. I don't lie. I don't have a reason to lie. And I was not going to pursue anything, because further as I was concerned, he said what he had to say, and I said what I had to say. And I left it alone. It was put on this agenda because they like confusion. And that's why it was put there, because they think they have powers that they don't have, and they could bully staff, and that.
Okay, but y'all said all of that.
Yes. And I thank all of y'all, but.
Well, first of
over
all, Mr. Abady and Mr. Cantrell are going to do what Mr. Abady said and investigate it, and they don't have jurisdiction over a council member either.
I
but
know,
and so I don't even know
But the
how
ethics
this
board
works
does.
out.
The ethic board
Yes,
does. I
yes,
did my
ma'am, you are
research.
correct.
I
You
did,
are
trust me, I
correct.
did my research. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
let's see how this shakes out, and
We will.
in the meantime, I know this hasn't been an easy situation for you. I
Not-
thank you for
not at
stepping
all.
up
Not
and
at all.
doing what Mr. Cantrell has asked of you. And I don't know how it all works out. At this point, I'm not sure what's.
I don't know. I mean, people disrespecting me and my authority, saying we don't respect her.
Okay.
Mr. Jimmy appointed me. If I'm not supposed to be appointed, will
Right, and we
somebody
did
let
get
me
a
know?
DA opinion on that,
Will
so.
somebody let me know?
Okay, so we're gonna leave this in the hands of the administration. I'm not really sure what they'll do with it, but I trust something, and, started. H, engineers, architects, reports. We have any engineers tonight? Any engineers? Any engineers giving reports tonight? Did they step out? No reports? Y'all just visiting? Heather? Okay. Amen. And nobody stepped out, right?
Everybody's here.
I, ordinances for discussion and ratification. Am I right? Am I moving? 13, ordinance approving a party wall and cross-access easement servitude agreement between Regency Cutoff LLC and Lafourche Parish Government, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. That's number 13. That's Daniel Lorraine for administration, deferred from 10/23/18. Public hearing was held at 10/23/18 LPC meeting. Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, I had deferred it because the administration wasn't here, but maybe they could explain it. From what I read, it seemed like a boundary dispute.
Mr. Jimmy? Mr. Abity?
Yeah, I worked on that agreement. This is a situation where the library rents some space in a building, and just by its nature, like they are all in all shopping centers or strip malls, you have a single wall between two spaces. That's called a party wall. It's a derivative of a servitude, and that's all we've done is agree in this, that if either party damages that common wall, that party has to repair it. And it prevents either party from making any significant changes to that. This is only required because they're refinancing that little strip mall. So the company that's writing the mortgage requires that there be a party wall agreement in place. But this really protects both parties from the other one abusing their right or doing anything to damage their common property.
Okay, Mr. LaFont?
Oh, I'm glad you answered it, because we wasn't exactly sure, what the party wall meant, so, but I appreciate that, and it makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
I was thinking of a different party, so.
Did Mr. Lorraine move on that?
Mr. Lorraine, did you move on that? Okay, you're gonna get a second from OTAN. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item passes 9-0. Okay. Public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Can I get a motion to open public hearings? Moved by LaFont, second by Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is open 9-0. Oh, wait, Mr. LaFont.
Yes, I need a poll number 14. There was just so many change orders. After speaking to administration, we both felt that it'd be better to pull it, rewrite the whole thing, and then come back with a new one.
I think that's a great idea. So pulling number 14. Number 15. We got you, hang on. Ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5781, 5782, and 5999 as it pertains to recreation districts of Chapter 34, Article 9, Recreation District, Section 34209 through Section 34219 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinance, and reenacting Chapter 34, Article 9, Recreation District, Section 34-209 through 34219 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinance, hereby reverting the recreation districts back prior to adoption of ordinance numbers 5781, 5782, and 5999. It's moved by Paraloo, second by Melvin. Discussion. Mr. Toops.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Raymond Toops, 117 Eagle Drive, Raceland. I here to speak to you and encourage you to vote for this ordinance. I'll start with a little history. As some of you may or may not know, this attempt at a parish-wide recreation board was attempted way back when. It did not survive. It was abandoned. It didn't work. One good thing that came out, according to some people, is that a parish-wide tax, which was good in a way, but had provided a lot of contentions between the communities because everybody felt they wasn't getting their fair share of the parish-wide tax. That still goes on. And when I was on the board, Recreation District 2, back in the 70s and 80s, we developed a formula for that to be distributed across the parish, but that went by the wayside, I think, and there's still some contentions about that. I'm currently again on the Recreation District Board. I got on because I was hoping to salvage some of the many things we have as a district. I was on the board when we developed the facilities we have in Raceland now with the many sports we have. We cover the whole gamut. Our kids have access to all the sports. We serve the community of Bayou Blue, the Zalman, Gaines, St. Charles Parish. We don't, draw any lines. If they want to come and participate in our programs, they can. So I encourage you to reestablish the districts as they were and help those districts reestablish their property tax or sales tax, whichever tax revenue they had that you guys eliminated. Now, we are fortunate in Raceland that our tax had 9 more years to run, and our funds were absconded from us somewhat, I won't say illegal, but questionable. Let's say questionable. And it was ruled that we had to get that money back, and that had to be all reverted. So we got our money. Gaines got that 1 year, and Bayou Blue got some of their money back. But, of course, when it expired, they lost their revenue. Even the thing going on in Lockport now, you guys are going to have a problem. You're going to build a facility and no money to operate and maintain it with. They're going to have to beg the parish for some recreation money. So, I urge you again, for these reasons and several others, I won't go over my allotted 3 minutes. I think that's a no-no. Anyway, I urge you to approve this ordinance because it's the right thing to do for our children and our recreation program. Thank you. Any questions?
Are any further discussions?
Oh.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Mr. Toops, you're right. On Raceland, they're going to survive. Everybody else won't. Lockport's finished. Now I'm talking about the extra mills.
The future, yeah.
Lockport's finished, Bayou Blue's finished, and Gaines is going to be finished December. Even though you pass this, they don't have enough time to report to the assessor to get their tax, so they're out. So you only got one. So I'm going to tell you, I'll be up front with you. I thought this would work, but it never did work. Never did work. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to work. I sit up here, and I supported Raceland for their millage before these guys came here, and Miss Lucy. I supported Lockport for their millage. I supported Bayou Blue. But when it came to my people, council didn't let me put it on the ballot, the 2 mills. Refused to let me put it on the ballot.
Not this council, Mr. Daniel.
Not this council, the previous council.
That was
But my scare is, I think I'm going to vote for it because it wasn't working, but I think we brought some attention. I think there's a lot of things going on in this parish. See how I'm going to say that. I got to be careful because I got in enough trouble tonight. We had more control of the funds, I should say. You go back the other way, we ain't got no control. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but there's a lot of things that were never done right when it came to recreation. It's sad to say, but that's what it is. And that's money for kids. And it's unbelievable. The money that was collected and nobody knows exactly where it went. And I know you're going to say it was audited. Just because it's audited doesn't mean it's right. But anyway, what we got now is not working. But now you'd have to go back to the voters, for not y'all, but everybody else, Bayou Blue, Lockport, and who's the other one? Gaines. And you know what's going to happen there? I think the voters are fed up with all millages, regardless of who it's for and what it's for. I just saw one that passed that's a service to the people, and it got blown out. And it shocked the hell out of me. But it did. That's people. I don't think you're going to see any millages pass. You ain't going to see no sales tax pass from here on out for a while. Now, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But it did not work. I can tell you that. And I was part of it. I thought it would work, but it didn't work. But it brought checkbooks to where they needed to be. Now, going back the other way, I'm not afraid to tell you, checkbooks are going to be in these little communities and do what they want. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'll
Mr.
disagree
Toops.
with you.
Mr. Toops,
It's up to that.
step up to the mic, please.
I'm sorry. I think it's up to the community, both for tax and for the administration of the funds, is to look at who they appoint to that board. You guys look at who you appoint to those boards and monitor those people. I can tell you, in Raceland, I have seen the changeover and everything. There's always been a person that was interested in the children's welfare. And I can tell you, every penny there was going the right direction. Now, the taxes, I think when it's well prepared, explain to the people that it's for them, for their children, and for that area, and not, quote, parish-wide, which is not good. But, you know, I think that has a better chance of convincing the people of voting for something like that.
Right. I agree with you to a certain extent. I'm just looking at what I saw before and what I see after and what I see now. Okay, I look at the whole picture. I'm not just looking at a piece of a picture.
It would be better.
And exactly what you said a while ago, we're building a facility, and you ain't going to have no funds to run it. And let me tell you, 1.5 mills parish-wide is not going to operate recreation without these extra taxes. But I also want to tell you that I personally supported every one of them. But when it came time for me to put it on the ballot for the southern end, they wouldn't even let me get it on, not this council, the previous council. And that, to me, was chicken.
Okay, Mr. Paraloo.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Mr. Toops 100% that although we can't draw any assumptions on how people would vote in the future, I think when something comes on the ballot, if you're a resident of Gaines or Bayou Blue, and they're saying this millage is for your children and their recreational benefit, I think that's a different ball game than giving the administration a few $1 million to pick up the garbage. Another thing I'd like to add as a caveat to this is we've appointed some really talented people on this parish-wide oversight board that we have in place right now. So if we approve this, that board goes away. In the next month or two, I'd like to reestablish that board to provide oversight of the parish-wide recreation, minus the local millages, of course. But I think there's some talented people that knows recreation and knows how to engineer some good quality decision-making for the youth of Lafourche. So I think that would benefit all of us to have that type of guidance in place, even though we rescind what's in place now.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, the consolidation is basically costing us over $500,000 in recreation. We have no way to make up for that unless we go ahead and deliver that power back to the local communities to reinstitute their millages. So it's correcting course. It's not making, we're not correcting a mistake. We tried something. If it's not working, let's go back to the way that it worked financially for the kids at Lafourche, and we can address a different avenue while having this in place that worked for us in the past.
Mr. Groh?
I was just going to mention too, so when we all vote on this, there was a lot of things in consideration. One was Reggie was in charge of it, and he was on board, and we all met. Me personally, like the Recreation Board for Heroes Park area, they were ready to disband right before that. They were like, look, they gave us a recommendation about joining with the city on some things that we didn't take, that they thought could have saved a lot of money. And they were kind of saying to me, and Jerry got the same message, that what are we here for? You know, we got to go find people to serve on these boards. I'm just trying to make sure that it's because we lost these revenue streams or it's because people want their checkbooks back. You know, we've had some misappropriation of monies and people got caught, like Daniel mentioned. It wasn't very long ago. And look, I totally agree with you when you're talking about taxes and when it's for the children. About probably 10 years ago, the city of Thibodeau tried to do it. They did an excellent job of advertising. They showed the dilapidated tennis courts and things like that. I would have bet that, there's a reason I don't bet. I'd have bet the house it would have passed. It failed. If people back here were betting that the garbage tax would have passed. It failed. So when you're talking about that, then what do? Then we go back to the drawing board. I'm concerned, we didn't have any leadership really in that department. I think Jennifer is busting her tail. I think the members of that board that we all appointed are doing an excellent job. I converse with my appointee often about it. Did we give it enough time? You know, the guy with insurance last night said, you know, you can have some hiccups. Did we give it enough time? Did they have the leadership for people to come and help them out? And I was expecting a larger crowd tonight. I don't know how many districts. I'm not trying to bash them. How many people are here from different boards to speak out against it? Or did we to reverse it? You know, I'm just trying to make sure we make the right decision. Like I said, the city of Thibodeau, I tried to give them the money. Last 2 years, it ain't happening. We're not cutting check back. They used to get allocation based on the taxes. They operate their own district. They got to scrounge for their own money. But to have faith in a tax passing in this day and age, it is a hope and a prayer, especially when you don't have a sunshine law on it or a stoppage. People look at it, and you could say for the kids, like I said, I'd have bet the house, and it didn't pass. Whenever this election comes up, it has a lot to do when it's on the ballot and things like that. Yeah, I think maybe in a small community like Gaines, you can get a lot of people out there. But Gaines does a couple of events. It's the ones like Raceland that have the soccer and huge fields and things like that that have a lot more expenses than an Easter egg hunt. You know, it's a very good program, but will somebody in Gaines go and vote for a tax for an Easter egg hunt to get that millage back? You know, something to think about, you know. I'm just worried we didn't give it enough time that I feel in talking with Jennifer, and she's a team of two, really. I mean, they don't have anybody but two people in that department that they feel like they turn in the corner. They're not getting a lot of calls except for just a couple little handful of areas. And I got calls the day after we voted on it from those same handful of areas. People had reached out to, I don't know if you guys had reached out, but I did get calls from the Gaines and Lockport and different areas like, man, look, we used to just be able to go to Walmart and buy some candy. Now we got to cut a PO. You're still getting the candy, you know. So that's just my 2 cents, you know. So.
Yeah.
Okay,
One more
Mr. Melvin.
comment. Going back to what something Mr. Perilou said, that it might be a nice thing to reestablish the board, do an oversight with an oversight capability only, because I didn't mention in my spiel, one of the big headaches is what he alluded to. You want to buy some pencils, and you got to go through the bureaucracy. You got to turn those small, got to do things, everyday kind of things, back to those local boards, that local director, as we call a supervisor now. But they need to get those little things done and get done right away. I got some gentlemen here that are district supervisors.
Okay, speaking to Mike.
That are waiting for a paycheck for 3 months for one of their employees. And I'm not, you know, we do good things here, but there's that bureaucracy is too much for these little districts.
Okay, Mr. Melvin?
Okay, real quick. I'd like to say first that if I think it should have been working fine the way it was. If there was some wrongdoing, some people should have been maybe investigated, prosecuted, and going to jail, period. Period. Number two, this looked good on paper when it was presented to us. We're all new councilmen, and like I said a while ago, the Saints look good on paper for a long time, okay? It doesn't mean it comes out like it should just because it looks good on paper. Sometimes it's not instituted with how it should have been. Number three, Mr. Bagalaw's job was to push this. That was part of his job responsibility at the job he had at the time. And I think he did a good job of explaining it and saying how it should have been. Number three, I had two guys from Thibodeau. One man who was responsible for a lot of things going on in Thibodeau Rec. He made one meeting and said he wanted out. He had enough. Too much infighting. The other gentleman I put was a former Nichols football player, very involved in Thibodeau. Good guy, strong athlete type guy you want on the board. 4 months, he said, man, this is going nowheres. And those are two people I know and trust. So that's what's leading me to support this because, you know, if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. Well, if it needed some tweaking to fix it and maybe some investigations, hey, that motivates people to behave. My point is, I'm going to vote for this because we need to, you know, go back to how it was. Thank you.
Mr. Abadi.
I'm not really expressing an opinion as to which way to vote, but I will tell you this, that the current system, I do agree with Mr. Grove, could probably use some more time to work out the bugs, just like anything else. The other problem you've got is we do have better financial accountability now. You're in a very hostile tax environment. You're going to leave some districts out there with virtually no money now and no way to get it because it's probably not going to get a tax to support them. The other thing that I think is particularly important and that I became aware of fairly recently is that we had districts or we had operations where people were given coaching positions and no background checks were being done. We ran background checks on about 6 or 8 people and I think only one passed. We had people with multiple felonies that were being put in positions of coaching with children. So you're not going to have the ability to enforce some standards if you give this back to a bunch of individual places because those people had coaching positions when you had individual districts. So I think there's 2 sides to this story. I'm glad I'm not voting, but that's something you need to know about.
Well,
Mr. Toops, hang on a second. Let Ms. Carlene do that. Call the next person. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay, he's correct, said there were some mistakes made in the past. But as of now, every coach in Recreation District 2 has passed a background check or he has been on notice that he's not to even come by the facility. In fact, that's we're enforcing the
Is that because of the consolidation?
recently developed parish procedure.
Okay.
And it's our coaches are all in,
Okay.
you know.
Let's someone else. Ms. Carlene, call someone else. We need to get out of
Mr.
here.
Lloyd Olin, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes, Mr. Olin.
Lloyd Olin, 2737 Bayou Blue Road, supervisor, director, whatever you want to call it, at the Bayou Blue Recreation. Real quick, one of the comments that was made was there's not going to be any, they wouldn't get the tax pass. But right now you have $1.5 million. If y'all vote on this and pass it, you still get $1.5 million. So if it takes me 4 years to get my millage back, regardless, you were still going to have to pay for me anyway. Correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, but give the opportunity for the people to take over their, pay for their own areas. Terrebonne Parish, just because I would like to say it, they do 5 mills across the board, then each recreation takes care of its own day-to-day operations. So for example, Gray is a 9 mills, but they still can pull from the 5 mills for the parish. When y'all did this, nobody thought about raising the tax first. The tax should have been raised. Should have went to the voters and said, look, we're gonna go 10 mills and we're gonna cancel everything out. That didn't happen, so we don't have enough money. If y'all pass it, fine. If y'all don't, things have gotten better as far as purchasing. Jennifer's doing a wonderful job. There is hiccups here and there. So as a director or a supervisor, either way doesn't make a difference. As Mr. Jacuzzi said, it's hard to work for 7 people compared to working with Jennifer. But at the same time, the 7 people were focused on that one area. And I was fortunate enough to have a pretty good board that was there for the kids. I hope it would go back for the simple fact, not because we can have a checkbook to make stuff easier, because at Bayou Blue, I implemented POs the first day I started. Everything we did was by PO. The first day I started 10 years ago, we did background checks on every person that came through the door. Okay? The parish, 8 years later, did it. We did it day one. Things you're supposed to do and not supposed to do. But appreciate your time, whatever y'all vote, we'll go from there. Thank y'all.
Mr. Grove?
The only, there's 2 points, well, actually, one's a question. We've all experienced frustration with administration not taking the advice of the board. I mean, Chad's been up here, budget time last year, we brought up, did you consult with the Recreation Advisory Board about, and they didn't. So, I mean, not everybody, not all the spokes in the wheel will turn in the right way, So, and I appreciate y'all coming here. The only other question I had is on insurance. One of the main reasons I voted for it in the past was insurance, that we'd be able to consolidate that for property and casualty or whatever we have out there. I know we just did quotes. Is it separated out now? Or are y'all under the parish
Mr.
insurance
Jimmy?
as a one?
Mr. Abity?
Yeah, when I was doing risk management, I can tell you that all of the insurance is consolidated under our property and casualty and our comprehensive general liability coverages. So all of those facilities now have adequate coverage.
So that should be able to continue, if we revert this back, they'll be able to, let's say they get all their money back, they'd be able to figure out a formula on how much they owe on that, or, or how does this work?
Well, we would
How was
have
it
to
done
look.
before?
We would have to look into that, because if you have separate entities now, and let's say, for example, they have title to their facilities, we would not have what's called an insurable interest, which is a legal requirement for you to be able to provide insurance. So it could result, and I would just tell you, I'd have to do some research on that, but it certainly could, and I would tell you, based on my experience, it's fairly likely that they would have to get their own insurance, that we would not be able to provide them with insurance. But there may be some workarounds. I can't tell you that there aren't, but I would just tell you that I think it would be a challenge.
Hey, I sat and listened to a lot of
Mr.
people talk
Grove?
earlier. I could talk too.
Today, let's move it along.
My other question is, when you looked at insurance, are y'all privy to what it costs now? Have we saved any money by going with a group?
I have no idea. I have no idea what it cost us before. I mean, I know what it cost us before was $18,000 a year for all of our coverages at Bayou Blue. I have no idea what came out the budget this year, was told. I got a clue. But the parish owns my building, so there's no reason they couldn't still give me insurance. I mean, I don't know what buildings they wouldn't have the title for. It's a parish building.
A DA opinion, which, I mean, we all have different feelings on that, but one of it said rescinding the ordinances would have no substantive effect, meaning that, as you said earlier, if you don't have the tax back, then we still have to pay, just as we're doing right now. But I would like, I don't know if Kelly can even, or if Mr. Jimmy wants to give her permission to speak, what happens with the boards? She doesn't know. Yeah, so we have this current board that's overall, so does this ordinance gets rid of that board, right, Mr. Perilou?
Yes, the ordinance would revert everything back to the existing setup before the ordinances were passed to consolidate. That's why I mentioned earlier, I would love to see us come back together and put that board back in place to offer guidance and to provide oversight over that 1.6 mil that's parish-wide collected. Whereas then the local recreation districts would have oversight of their local mills to spend as they see fit for their local recreation needs.
So you don't think that's too many levels of,
Not at all. You have two different pots of money. You have the local mills, and then you have the parish-wide mills.
Okay.
We can put that board back in place to provide oversight over the 1.6 that we collect as a parish.
okay.
And I think it would work well that way, because then we would actually have oversight over parish-wide recreation, which we've never had in the past.
Okay. Mr. Jacuzzo?
Yeah, Corey, listening to it, what if, say, Bayou Blue gains, Lockport, like Daniel's saying, millages do not pass, which I agree, it's gonna be a challenge, especially with a $30 million jail, especially with the fire department's increases, it's gonna be a challenge. Wouldn't that give the opportunity that if those three communities did not have a millage to fund it, and the parish had to pay for it, that they would be under the advisory of that parish-wide board instead of an individual board, because ultimately that funding is coming directly from the parish, so they wouldn't have their boards to govern because they don't have their millage.
That's exactly right. The only reason they have a local board of commission is because they have a local millage. Lockport had a board of commission when they had a millage, but the board went away when we consolidated and their millage expired.
And if they don't have a millage in the future, then the board that you were proposing
would provide the oversight over them.
Oversight for those three areas that wouldn't have.
That does not have local boards controlling their millages.
All right, thank you.
Mr. LaFont? You have
To
something
correct
new to
some of
add?
that, all districts had a local board, whether they collect millages or not. And the previous boards, Daniel and I's board, with Recreation 3, they went under the same formula that it's doing now. They don't have a millage. So anytime they needed pencils or anything else, they had to come the same way that everybody has to do it now. So when we talked about this, that was mentioned, and that we thought it was a great idea. I still think we given up too soon. I got an email, I got a text from my representative on that board, who's very active in that board, Mr. Thomas Arsenault, and I asked him what he was thinking about, and he said, I think it should stay as is. We're about to start to get things done, and we'll do away with it. 2 years wasted. They also approved $40,000 I think it was $40,000 to do a study on how to make things work in the future and make it better. I think they spent 40 prior to that, and am I right? And an additional 40 was just approved to go again. So it's $80,000 that they're spending to do a study on to make sure we do it in one way. Look, I think these guys have really worked their butts off on doing for their communities. But I think we need to be uniformed across the parish on recreation. There was, and I'll use an example. In 10th Ward, no fields are locked. You can go play baseball. If you want to go play baseball at 1 o'clock in the morning, you can go play baseball at 1 o'clock in the morning. In Raceland here, they used to lock all their fields at one time. Then it wasn't until after this board was committed that they asked to remove the locks. So you had to go and get permission to use the field. I don't want to see that happen in the parish. Look, I'm sorry people lost money, but every other district had to follow the rules. The ones that didn't have millage, there's only 4 that had millage. Everybody else had to come through the parish, just like they're doing now, to get their money. If they needed money, they had to file. I think when we started this, Reggie was in charge, and Reggie put a lot of effort into it. I don't think we've seen that kind of effort. I would hope that we can get that effort back from somebody else. If they can make that commitment, I think it could really work. Just my thoughts.
Mr. Toops?
First of all, on the locks, I'm from Raceland, somebody from outside of our district complained that they would come to Raceland and couldn't get on the field at night because the light switches were locked, rightly so. The advisory board, God bless them, took that advice and instructed us to lock everything, to unlock everything. We did. We logged in the many, many, many nights that the lights on all the fields, not all, but most of them, stayed on all the time. That's why we had locked them before. People go turn them on. They haul back home.
In the mic.
And don't turn the lights off. I'm sorry. They don't turn the lights off. So we reestablished the lights, and anybody, the whole parish can come and play at 9 p.m. if they want. All they have to do is make a request. One of the custodians is assigned to unlock that particular light system and relock it, after they've played, if they don't lock it themselves.
So you reserve the
So
field?
that's been corrected.
Okay.
That's been correct.
Mr. Paraloo?
All right, this ordinance rescission to me is about dollars and cents. I understand some areas never had a local millage to begin with, and they've had to go, I'm not trying to change the process. I'm trying to change the fact that we're about to lose $500,000 in recreation funds if we don't act now and rescind this, situation that we're in now, because as those local millages goes away, nobody's sitting over here guaranteeing I'm going to write a check for $100,000 to recreation. Who's going to fill that gap? Who's going to pay operating fees in areas that could be self-sustaining? No one. I dare you to go to the parish and do a parish-wide request for recreation taxes. It'll fail. You go to a community, you have a much better shot because it's their kids they're dealing with. You gonna take that? No, I'm just kidding. So again, I'm asking you guys to support this because if we don't overturn this consolidation, we're gonna lose, and it's not even us. The kids are gonna lose because then when we can't pay operating and insurance because we lost $500,000 on some of these districts, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Did you want to speak? You're over there waving and...
Another point, Mr.
All right, Mr. Toops, we gotta go.
Laflon.
Do you have a new...
No, he referred to the wasted money with South Central Planning, and I concur with you from that point of view. But because that mistake was made to go do those studies, that money's been spent. And if the study is available, that advisory board can look at that information and see if it's something that's worth implementing. If it is, we can do it. The individual boards can do it. So it's not totally wasted.
I agree with you.
It wasn't the right thing to do, but it was not totally wasted.
I agree with you. Okay, I think it failed because of lack of leadership when Reggie left. Lack of leadership. Okay. Did we get a second on that, Ms. Pauline?
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Melvin.
All right, y'all ready to vote? Okay, Bo.
You want to put them on the board?
Yeah, I want to put these on the board, Trey. Wait, nobody press the button until it starts blinking.
Until you see that blink, or you see this one.
Now, this is a vote to rescind the ordinances. Y'all ready? Voting. Yes? Trey, are all votes in? Are you sure? Okay.
Thank you.
Item passes 7-2 with Lorraine and LaFont being the two nays. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Paraloo.
We the ones that furnish everything, so
Okay, hold on.
whatever.
Number 16, ordinance providing for 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-024 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to transfer funds from emergency fund 174 fund balance to the general fund 001 Department of Corrections 001423300 for feeding the prisoners and maintenance at the jail. Hey, we have a meeting going on. And authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Lorraine, second by Otan. Any discussion? Mr. Jones.
This is another 200,000 coming out of emergency fund?
Yeah, this money's being moved out of the emergency fund because that's where the money is. And we have to pay, by law, for the housing of the prisoners in other parishes until the new prison is open. It's not optional for us.
No, it's not optional, but we couldn't find another fund? There's no money left nowhere?
Well,
Health activities?
We looked in other funds, and unfortunately, between the rest of the obligations that we have and this, that the money's gonna come out of all the funds. So there's other things that we have to pay for now too. So, you know, the problem here is that our costs are exceeding our revenues. And as long as we have that problem, we're always gonna be moving money back and forth between accounts to cover our legal obligations.
How much we have in health activities?
Obviously, I don't have a book of balances in front of me. All these things go through the finance department so that we can find funds in places where we can actually afford to pay for them.
Mr. Jacuzo?
Yeah, this is to the administration. When I was looking at the 16, also referring to the budget in corrections, with us increasing our spending, since we had the desire to go to 600-bed jail in our parish for $30 million, and with that increased funding for that, now we are at a jail capacity that's a minimum, and we are now having to increase this money for the feeding of now. Is this going to affect us where next October we're going to have to try to come up with, what, 400, 500,000 for feeding because of this? And
we are actually wrestling with those issues now. We have a meeting with the sheriff's office in, I think, next week. The issue is that we're going to move into a 600-bed prison. Hopefully, we'll be bringing back all the prisoners we're paying by the day to house in other parishes. And that's going to offset some of the cost of the prisoners that are going to be in the new prison.
Well, what about offsetting some of the revenue that the sheriff's office incumbents on prisoners and having them offset the parish to share the expense of food? And what about maybe some of the work release revenues and bring this partnership together? Because we battled just now about $400,000 for recreation, and we battled this for kids. Maybe the funds that are made on the laborers at the back of those prisoners can help pay to feed them and help fund our council, because I can only see this number now multiplying with the number of prisoners, and then we're going to be at what debt? At a millage that was passed not by this council. So I can see us running into a problem with this, and, you know, where are we going to get the money?
We see this problem too, and I will tell you that what's going to happen here, and this is, I guess, well-kept secret from when this prison project went forward with the tax to do that, is that now what's going to happen is the sheriff's office is going to house prisoners from other parishes and other agencies, and it's going to be a profit center for them, and they're going to come to the council and demand that the council provide funds to provide for medical care and for feeding of those prisoners. Now, that's one of the reasons we're meeting with them. But unfortunately, the law, which we have to follow, is that it says that the parish is responsible for those costs. Now, we're going to try to work something out, but I will tell you, this has been challenged in numerous other parishes, and the sheriffs have won every time. Of course, they're an incredibly powerful political group. And I will tell you that this council and the taxpayers of Lafourche Parish are at risk of being the victims of that political power.
But once again, you are required to provide the feeding. That means the food services of the facility should not be within the decision of the sheriff's office to feed those prisoners, but in the parish council. So maybe we should look at an alternative way of feeding those through those services, because I just can't see us having a debt that I mean, it's amateur math that's going to grow next year and then the year after with this, unless the population is controlled. And I didn't know.
Well, we agree with you, but I will tell you that we're all hemmed in by the law. Right. And that's why we're meeting with the sheriff to try to work something out that works for everybody.
I understand the law. I'm just saying that when you don't have money, where are you going to get it? You're taking away stuff from other areas.
They don't care, I will tell you. There's anytime you have an obligation, they don't care where we get the money.
Okay, well, let's talk to the sheriff first and give him a chance to see if he cares. And I think we just need to do that first, because before we continue with this conversation. But okay, anything else? Did I get a second? Yes, ma'am. All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 abstention, and 0 absent, with Grow being the abstention. Jeez. Number 17, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-026 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to increase the budget for the elevation of 7 qualified properties that are funded under the 2017 Flood Mitigation Assistance Grant Program and the homeowner's cost share of up to 25%, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Lorraine, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 18, ordinance providing for 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-027 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to set up the budget for the installation of a new water line along East 44th Street in the amount of $47,180, and for the upgrade of the water lines on West 23rd Street in the amount of $43,537, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Lafont, second by Parallel. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Thank you, Mr. Lafont. Second by Mr. Parallel. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Otan, can you?
Okay, we only have one proposed ordinance. K, item 19, proposed ordinance approving a residential property lease agreement between the Lafourche Parish government and Chuck Como and Elizabeth Como for property acquired through the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents by Councilman LaFont for the administration. That ends proposed ordinances.
Let the record show that Mr. Parallel stepped out at 8:11. L, resolutions. 20, resolution requesting the administration to consider having a rainfall study done in South Lafourche to assist the residents with flood insurance. Moved by Lorraine, second by Grow. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine, did you have something?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought you were grabbing your mic. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Mr. Parallel, 8.
0 nays, 0 absent, 1 out of the room at time.
Now I gotta start saying absent. 8 yeas, 0 nays, 0 absent, 1 out of the room at the time of vote.
Meaning Mr. Parallel.
Mr. Parallel, okay. Let the record show, thankfully, Mr. Parallel stepped back in at 8:12, so I don't have to go through that again. 21, resolution appointed one member of the Head Start Policy Council as a community representative alternative. Mr. Melvin, who do you have?
Francis Schwest.
Francis Schwest. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Parallel. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Resolution 22, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District 2 Board. Mr. Otan, who do you have?
Mr. Johnny Orvella.
Woodson. Mr. Johnny, by Otan, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? There it is. Passes 9-0. Number 23, resolution amending resolution number 18270, which appointed one member of the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission Board to correct the member's beginning term date. Moved by Mr. Parallel. Second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 24, resolution appointed one member on the Fire Protection District Number 3 Board. Mr. Otan, who do you have?
Yeah, first I just want to comment, Mr. Andy and Mr. Don had both applied, and they're both very well versed in the fire service. However, I want to reappoint Mr. Chad Bourgeois.
Ms. Chad Bourgeois, can I get a second? Second by Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 25, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and St. James Parish Area Agency on Aging for Lafourche Parish Government to serve as a host agency of the Senior Community Service Employment Program, SCSEP, funded through the St. James Parish Area Agency on Aging and operated under Title V of the Older Americans Act to provide safe and healthful work sites for the participants, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Otan, second by second by Grow. Any discussion?
I got a question.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Abity, who gonna supervise this?
Mr. Aberdeen?
The individuals that are placed here, as y'all know from the material that I sent out after the meeting, there will be a couple of these workers hopefully placed here, and whatever department they go to, they will be under the supervision of the person that they're working for in that department.
Is it, you planning on sending them to community action?
Well, part of this program is that those people have the opportunity to try to choose where they would like to work, and we try to accommodate those choices. So I can't tell you if anybody's going to request to work in community action. We don't even know who or how many people it'll be, so I can't tell you specifically if one or none or how many of them might go to community action.
We got enough problem in community action already, don't you?
I agree with that.
All right.
Mr. Lorraine?
I'd like to ask Charlene a question, if she don't mind.
Charlene?
'Cause
State your name and address for the record,
she'll tell us the truth.
and tell us the truth.
Charlene Rodriguez, Post Office Box 500, Raceland.
At one time, you did do this.
Yes.
Why are you not having it now? If you did it,
Because this is a temporary training where they learn a trade, and either you pick them up as the host agency, or if not, within so many weeks, you have to move them to another host agency site. It's not that easy to find a host agency site for these people. And these people want to learn a training, but they want to come here. Wherever you put them, they want to stay there forever. But that's not what this program's about. So I just gave it up because I was fighting a losing battle.
so what you telling me, if it would have really worked, you'd still have it?
Probably so, if it wouldn't be so hard to,
You made up my mind on
placements.
how I'm gonna vote.
But it's a good program, Mr. Daniel, it really is. It's just hard to get the people placed in the place where they want to be, because a lot of people don't have the money to hire them after they're in that training.
Mr. Otan?
Ms. Charlene, not to put you on the spot, but if you were sitting in my position, you would vote yea for this
Yes.
program? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's worth another try. Usually
Welcome.
I'll support it, but Charlene, nothing else to add? Okay, thank you all. All right, you ready to vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-1 with Mr. Daniel B. in the nay. 26, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way for free tax preparations to the citizens of Lafourche Parish at the Thibodeau Health Unit, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Gross, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 27, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way for the free tax preparation to the citizens of Lafourche Parish at the Matthews Government Complex, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Paraluz, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 28, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way for free tax preparation to citizens of Lafourche Parish at the Galliano Annex, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraluz. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 29, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Ducks Unlimited, Inc. to provide supplemental funding in the amount of $29,000 for the Golden Meadow Marsh Creation Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by LaFawn. Any discussion? Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 30, resolution supporting the selection of the Caminada Headlands Back Barrier Marsh Creation Increment 2, BA-193 for the Phase 2 construction funding through the Coastal Wetlands Planning, Protection, and Restoration Act, CWPPRA process, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Melvin. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 31, resolution supporting the selection of the East Catfish Lake Marsh Creation and Shoreline Protection Project for the Phase 1 Engineering and Design funding through Coastal Wetlands Planning, Protection, and Restoration Act, CWPPRA, process and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 32, resolution supporting the selection of the West Fourchon Marsh Creation and Nourishment Project TE-134 for Phase 2 construction funding through the Coastal Wetlands Planning, Protection, and Restoration Act, CWPPRA, process and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by LaFawn. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 33, I think we have an amendment on 33 as well. Resolution accepting the quote of Lafourche Animal Hospital to provide veterinary services on an as-needed and as called upon basis for the Lafourche Parish Animal Shelter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Ms. Carleen, can you discuss that?
I'm just seeing it for the first time. Let me see here. It's a letter received from Dr. Misty Bollinger to perform the veterinary services under Lafourche Animal Hospital as per Dr. Pierce's quote. I think Dr. Pierce got the quote, am I right, Kelly? But it was Misty that was going to actually do the veterinarian services. And of course, we all know he passed away, so.
Right. So
Yeah.
So we're going to vote on the amendment. Do we have any? Do you have a second? Okay, second by O-Town. Okay.
So this is just to include the letter. That's all this amendment is,
All right, the amendment includes the letter.
from Dr. Bollinger.
Can I get a motion to include the letter for the amendment? Moved by O-Town, second by Paraloo. Now, the item as amended, we need a vote on that. Moved by Paraloo, second by Jacuzo. Oh, wait, I got to go back and vote on the amended,
On the
sorry.
amendment.
Okay, voting on adding the letter. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, 9-0, amendment accepted. Now, item as amended,
The resolution as amended.
moved by Paraloo, second by O-Tan, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 34, resolution accepting the low quote of Gulf Island Services in the amount of $17,895 to drive sheep house for the Sugar Ridge East Pump Station, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Could someone move for me? Moved by O-Tan, second by Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 35, resolution approving Lafourche Parish Geographical Information System use of the Ways Connected Citizens Program to inform Lafourche Parish residents of traffic incidents and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by O-Tan, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? We don't want Jeffrey to come back and explain it, right? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. You get off the hook, Jeffrey. 36, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with Morris P. Abear, Inc. for MS4 permit consulting services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Jones, second by O-Tan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 37, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Louisiana State University LSU School of Veterinary Medicine to provide services to the Lafourche Parish Animal Shelter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Paraloo, second by Jacuzo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 38, resolution accepting a low bid of Barry A. Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $795,353.85 for the Abbey Road Overlay Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Grove, second by Jones. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont.
I'm gonna abstain from voting on this one. I don't have no part in that fund, for road sales and all that in that area, so I'm gonna let y'all decide what y'all wanna do on it.
That's the first
Yeah,
time
it
I ever
says-
hear him say something good. I'm gonna follow him.
Well, that's, I
You
mean,
were only
we
elected
vote
for your
on-
district, Jerry? Is that right?
Hey, you don't have the
I
floor,
mean-
Mr. Grow. Is that something now that we think is going to be a good idea to just start abstaining when it doesn't affect our area? Or when, I mean, we vote
Well,
on sales tax.
to be honest with
Mr.
you-
Lorraine, I'm not done. We have sales tax too that we have to vote on, road sales tax too, that doesn't affect our district all day long.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Lorraine?
I know. Road sales tax too don't affect you. I know what y'all did to
I mean,
me.
it's the same thing.
So I'm just gonna stay out of it.
Okay. Mr. Jones?
All right. Administration, this question coming up again. That ditch that he wrote on Lake Howard, on Abbey Road, between Lake Howard, the ditch, and 500 Abbey Road, is that ditch gonna be dead in this project?
It won't be done in this project, but we've already hired an engineer to engineer that.
It won't be done in this project, but the money's gonna be gone,
No, sir, you have your money, your 200,000.
and that's guaranteed for that ditch.
That's in the capital outlay budget, yes, sir.
Yes, in the capital, they moved it to 206. They took it from 299, moved it to 206, road sale tax A. That money, I want definite answers. This money gonna be dead for that ditch.
I can only tell you what I know. And we've hired an engineer, and he's working through his design of the ditch and how we're gonna do it. So it's coming along pretty good. I feel confident that we're gonna get it done for that money. And the last time I looked at the budget, the money was still in there.
Yeah, it's still in there, but I don't wanna be like the west side drainage, because it's in there in the scope. That don't mean we have to do it. And we had to have the city come in to finish that project. That's my concern.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? All right, Ms. Carlene, this is going to be another complicated vote, so get ready to. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
Two abstentions,
Yes. So that's 7 yeas,
0 nays.
0 nays, 2 abstentions, being Lorraine and Lafont.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, Mr. Grow, you,
That's your opinion, buddy.
Mr. Lafont? Y'all don't have the floor, and we're moving on. All right, number 40. Somebody said they wanted to pull that one. Am I remembering correctly? No?
We're on 39.
Oh, 39. Yeah. No. Sorry, they waited all this time. 39, resolution approving change order number 1 from Valut Inc. Mr. Grow, can you stay with us, please, for the project titled Galliano Bridge Inspection and Repair West Approach Replacement to decrease the contract price by $30,064.70 and add 122 additional days to the contract time, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by LaFawn. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstains? Item passes 9-0. Number 40. Now that's being pulled, right, Mr. Lorraine? Number 40. You're going to announce that you're pulling number 40?
Y'all have to go through it. That's Mr. Paraloo.
Is that Paraloo or Lorraine? Oh, Mr. Paraloo.
I received no guidance from administration on this.
40,
Mr. Abedy.
40, 41, 42, and 43 were put on this agenda as well as last night, just in case there was not a quorum last night, so these are all moot, and they were all voted on last night.
Okay, I'd like to pull items 40, 41, 42, and 43.
Great. M, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Manager reports, presentations, and/or updates. Mr. Barnes has graciously agreed to do this Public Works presentation at another time, at the next, if not the next meeting, at the one you're scheduled for. Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
When would you like him to do it?
When would you, will he be able to do it at the next meeting, or, well, not tomorrow, but, or do you want to just do it at your regularly scheduled meeting?
He won't be able to do it at the...
Regular schedule.
Oh.
Regular schedule.
He won't be able to do it?
January.
Okay, so it's not going to be till January, because that second meeting's going to cancel in December. Do you want to do it the first week?
I'm good with that.
First
Tell me
week.
which one.
First meeting in December?
Okay, the first meeting in December. Now, is the administration good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the date, Ms. Carleen?
December 11th.
December 11th. All right. And questions for the administration, Mr. Melvin?
Yes, sir. Mr. Barnes, real quick, I'd like to get a meeting, just, let you know, I'd like to get a meeting with you. I know we've been talking about different neighborhoods, but I want to home in on Crossing North, simply because you know the problems, I know the issues. I talked to Mr. Cantrell, I think we're all kind of on the same page. Maybe we have a different way of solving the problem, but I did want to let you know, I'd like to get a meeting together and be proactive with those folks, because again, that is yet another pretty brand-new neighborhood that has design engineered flaws that I don't think was done right from the get-go, and they're having some water issues, not as catastrophic as some other places, but it's still, when you have two pastures draining into your drainage system from both sides of your neighborhood, getting into the catch basins, that's never a good thing, and I don't think it was on the plan, but it's happening.
No, I'll be glad to meet with you, and I've been out there several times.
Yes, sir, and I know you have, and thank you so much.
And you know, Mr. Jimmy's been out there also.
Yes, sir, I'm a contact, I'm my Facebook, everything, I'm aware, so I just wanted to make it, let him know. Thank you.
And I can also say, in Mr. Otan's district, we just had a slew of pictures of the same problem. Corey has one area in his district that's the same identical problem. But we're working on trying to come up with a solution. So yes, sir, we'll move forward.
Okay. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Bourne, can I get an update on that right-of-way, all three right-of-way group over in Waverly subdivision?
Let me get with Steve in the morning. I know everybody met and it was signed. I thought it would be on the council agenda by now, but Steve was out today, and I'll get with him in the morning first thing and let you know.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions for the administration? None. O, council reports, presentations, updates, and/or questions again. Any of that? No. P, discussions. 45, discussion regarding an administration address having a rainfall study in South Lafourche. Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, we passed a resolution earlier. All it is, according to Window, we never really had a rainfall study, and a lot of people are having problems with their flood insurance. He feels if we can get one in the near future, it's possible we can lower some of the rates.
Okay. Mr. LaFont?
Is it also possible that the rates might go up because of the rainfall study?
I wouldn't think so, because we got good drainage.
We got to be careful on what we wish for.
I'm only recommending what he requested me to do. And people that called me that went up with an insurance policy for $400 to $4,000. I went from $1,700 to $450, which is reasonable. Depends on where you live and where you're at. Maybe I had a discount, I don't know.
Okay. 46, discussion concerning the events that took place during the distribution of commodities in South Lafourche with a Lafourche Parish government employee passing out a petition and verbally attacking Councilman Daniel Lorraine. Mr. Lorraine?
I don't think we can discuss it any more than what we did.
Amen. Would you like to pull that item? Mr. Lorraine, do you want to pull it? So that item's been pulled. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Perilou, second by. second by O10. All in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:34. Hey.